Chapter 427. The condensed golden shadows could last for the time it takes for an incense stick to burn. To Ning Fan, there were too many things he could do in that time. With a flash of traveling light, he went straight towards the other two Void Glimpse stage experts of the Lightning Palace who were fighting against the spiritual puppets like lightning. The fact that Ning Fan could split out two golden shadows and kill the malicious ghost within 2 breaths had already shocked all the undead spirits. Even Zhu Feng, who was having a hard time fighting against Lei Shi, could not help but feel fearful. What kind of magic technique is that? It can actually create golden shadows. This technique is so heaven-defying. It's impossible for it to be unknown. Why have I never heard of it before? The same thought also appeared in Lei Shi's mind. However, he already knew that Ning Fan was a living being. Thus, he was not as shocked as Zhu Feng. Judging from Ning Fan's lack of proficiency in this magic technique, he must have just mastered it not long ago. Judging from the fluctuation of the technique, Lei Shi vaguely felt that it was familiar. He already had a conclusion in his mind and said with a bitter smile, "I can't be wrong. This technique is recorded in the inheritance crystal. Even though I can't open the crystal with my undead spirit body, I can still sense its contents. Even if I can't see through it, I can still remember a trace of magic power fluctuation within it. This technique is so heaven-defying. It seems like I've been taken advantage of again. However, there's nothing I can do about it. I can't activate this technique for thousands of years in my hands. However, it can be used in his hands. This is also the result of luck. My luck is far less than this young man's." Even the 2 Void Inquiry stage experts were stunned by this technique. How could the other Void Glimpse stage experts not know how powerful it was? A single golden body was already comparable to a Void Glimpse stage expert. With 2 illusory golden bodies and Ning Fan, who already possessed heaven-defying strength, who could stop him in this lightning palace of the Zhong Mountain? Yen Daozi and Gu Feng were attacking the 3 spiritual puppets together. Both of them were relatively weak among the Void Refinement Realm experts of the Lightning Palace. They only dared to bully the spiritual puppets. Both of them were proficient in joint attacks. Even though they were 2 against 3, they gradually gained the upper hand. However, before the 2 of them could feel proud of themselves, they were shocked to find that the malicious ghost had fallen. Then, they realized that Ning Fan, who had just killed the malicious ghost, was rushing towards them at lightning speed with intense baleful chi. Not good. Both of their hearts shuddered. Each of them summoned their strongest magic treasures and attacked Ning Fan's head. At the same time, they left the 3 puppets behind and fled without even turning their heads back. The 2 Void Glimpse stage experts actually did not have the courage to resist him. In the state of 1 man and 2 shadows, Ning Fan's combat power was equivalent to that of 3 Void Glimpse stage experts. He could kill a Void Glimpse stage expert instantly. Who would dare to fight against him? One of the magic treasures that the 2 of them took out was a flying lightning sword. It was a low-grade mortal void magic treasure. When it was flying, only lightning could be seen, but not the shadow of the sword could be seen. It was enough to show how fast this sword was. The other treasure was a 5 light stone. It was also a low-grade mortal void realm treasure. As soon as he activated it, it immediately turned into millions of 5-colored mountains that fell on Ning Fan's head. The magic treasure is not bad. Unfortunately, all of you can't leave. Boom! Boom! As soon as Ning Fan's words fell, the 2 golden Arhat shadows took a step forward and threw a golden fist light at the 2 treasures in the sky. The strength of their fists was enough to shatter the heavens and crack the earth. The hollow space collapsed and mountains and rivers collapsed. The flying lightning sword was sent flying by the punch, and the 5 light stone was sent flying by the punch. The 2 golden shadows also suffered some injuries after getting their magic treasures blown away. However, these injuries were not fatal. At the next moment, the two golden shadows shone with golden light and their injuries were healed. After their injuries were healed, the two golden shadows waved their hands at the same time and grabbed the flying lightning sword and the 5 light stone respectively. With a flash of golden light, they erased the marks of the magic treasures and forcefully devoured them for their own use. What? Before the two of them could escape far away, they sensed that the attacks of their magic treasures were broken. When they saw the scene of the golden shadows healing themselves, their faces turned pale with fright. The injuries of the golden shadows healed themselves. Unless they deliver a fatal blow, no one could kill them. These golden shadows were too strange. They could actually erase the marks of their magic treasures and snatch their magic treasures for their own use. Trying to escape. Ning Fan summoned his Fuli wings. In a flash, he was slightly faster than the two of them and blocked their path of retreat. Both of his fists carried a force that could shake mountains and rivers. They landed on the chests of the two golden shadows, producing a series of loud cracking sounds. Puff, the two of them spurted out blood at the same time. After receiving the tremendous force of Ning Fan's punch, their injuries were not light. Even though they were not instantly killed by Ning Fan, the 3 spiritual puppets and the 2 golden shadows took the opportunity to attack them from all directions. In an instant, Yan Daozi and Gu Feng were already surrounded by the 6 of them. 1 human, 2 shadows and 3 spiritual puppets all threw out punches. 6 void glimpse stage attacks were enough to flatten the Zhong mountain. When the attacks landed in front of Yan Daozi and Gu Feng, they could not defend themselves at all. Boom boom boom, their punches landed on the protective treasure light. The two of them could only endure it with all their might. How could they have the strength to fight back? As time passed, the two of them gradually could not hold on any longer. 10 punches. Their armor was shattered. 100 punches. Their physical bodies were riddled with thousands of holes. Their muscles and bones were all broken and their blood flowed like a river. 1,000 punches. Their primordial spirits were destroyed by the rays of fist light. After 2 miserable shrieks, the two of them finally died after holding on for the time it takes for an incense stick to burn. Relying on the 2 shadows and 3 spiritual puppets, Ning Fan killed 2 more of them. 2 traces of primordial lightning and 2 pieces of golden jade were kept in his pouch. All the undead spirits at the scene were extremely shocked by Ning Fan's ferocious might. The 5 void glimpse stage experts who were watching from afar all felt an irresistible aura force coming from Ning Fan's body. The spiritual puppets belong to this young man. The golden shadows are transformed from this young man. This means that his combat power alone is comparable to 6 void glimpse stage experts. Ma Renwang, Li Gui, Yan Daozi, and Gu Feng. In just a short period of time, this young man has already killed 4 void glimpse stage experts in a row. His means are shocking. No one can stop him. Retreat quickly. This place is definitely not a place to stay for long. The 5 of them exchanged glances with each other. None of them had the intention to take advantage of Ning Fan anymore. All of them turned into wisps of smoke and fled for their lives. They no longer cared about the outcome of the battle on the Zhong mountain. Their fear of Ning Fan had already reached an extreme level. When the time it takes for an incense stick to burn was up, the golden shadows dissipated. After losing the 2 golden shadows, Ning Fan would not be able to use the aspect of self technique again within a short period of time. However, Ning Fan currently had 1 human and 3 spiritual puppets with him. Thus, he was still unrivaled among void glimpse stage experts. There were still 5 void glimpse stage experts left in the lightning palace of the Zhong mountain. They were fighting against Chu Nanfeng and the other void glimpse stage experts of the Myriad Treasure Pavilion. In the beginning, they were still able to fight evenly with Chu Nanfeng and the others. However, as Ning Fan killed a few of them in a row, fear grew in their hearts and they lost their sense of propriety. Gradually, they began to show signs of losing the upper hand. This young man is only at the half-step void refinement realm, but he is already so powerful. If he advances to the void refinement realm, even if he is just a void glimpse stage expert, he will certainly be unrivaled among void glimpse stage experts. No, if he attains the void glimpse stage, I'm afraid he will even dare to fight against a void inquiry stage expert. While the 5 of them were deep in thought, they were suddenly startled. They sensed 4 whistling rays of formation light approaching them from afar like Yama kings. It was none other than Ning Fan and his 3 spiritual puppets. Not good. The void glimpse stage expert of the Lightning Palace who was fighting against Mo Feiyun could not react in time and was already attacked by Ning Fan. The 3 spiritual puppets threw out punches at him at the same time, breaking all of his defenses. Ning Fan then raised his hand and swung his sword, using the Separation Slayer sword to take his life, piercing into his dantian. At the next moment, billions of sword threads were drawn out and destroyed his primordial spirit. He devoured the primordial lightning and absorbed the golden jade. Fellow Taoist Zhou, thank you for your help. Mo Feiyun's eyes were filled with complicated emotions. The opponent whom he needed to fight with his full strength was instantly killed by Ning Fan. This huge difference in strength made him realize how strong Ning Fan was. Ning Fan nodded his head. In a flash, he flew towards Chu Nanfeng's battlefield. Chu Nanfeng's opponent was an undead spirit who possessed demon blood. He was currently transforming into the demon form of a black dragon and showing off his strength. This person's demon blood was impure. The demon form that he transformed into was also extremely clumsy. Even so, the strength of the black dragon's demon form made Chu Nanfeng unable to defeat him. While they were engaged in a bitter battle, they suddenly saw 4 rays of light approaching them from afar. That black dragon was quite proud of himself for suppressing Chu Nanfeng. When he saw Ning Fan and the others approaching him, even though he was filled with fear, his mouth was still filled with disdain. Arrogant brat. Do you really think that you are comparable to a void refinement realm expert just by relying on the power of your spiritual puppets and illusions? How ridiculous. Black Dragon Heaven Devouring Technique. The black dragon opened his gigantic mouth. The power of the void was generated in his mouth. It was like a chaotic black hole, trying to devour Ning Fan in a single gulp. This technique was most likely another secret technique of the Black Dragon clan. However, the black dragon in front of him was probably the clumsiest user of this technique in the history of the Black Dragon clan. Collapse. Ning Fan only uttered a single word and clawed with his 5 fingers. However, it was as if it was enough to tear heaven and earth apart. The void within the black dragon's mouth was torn into pieces by Ning Fan just like that, breaking the technique head-on. How could the black dragon feel good after his magic technique was forcefully broken? He kept coughing out blood. He looked at Ning Fan and actually felt a chill that originated from his bloodline. At this moment, his mind was calm. Only then did he gradually sense a suffocating aura force of demon blood from Ning Fan's body. He did not know where he got his black dragon blood from. After refining it a little, it turned out to be extremely clumsy. However, the demon blood in Ning Fan's body was pure and supreme. The black dragon had never seen such a strong bloodline in his life. Even King Yinglong, who was rumored to possess the true bloodline of the yellow dragon, definitely did not have the aura force of Ning Fan's bloodline. Without giving the black dragon too much time to think, Ning Fan directly rose into the air. In a flash of light, he stood on top of the black dragon's head. At such a close distance, Ning Fan fully released the aura force of his ancestral blood. The black dragon actually could not resist it at all. It was as if it was directly immobilized and fell into a daze. The black dragon's bloodline was incomplete while Ning Fan's bloodline was ancestral. The difference between their bloodlines was just too huge. With just his bloodline, Ning Fan could suppress the black dragon. If he did not have such deterrence force, how could he match his identity as the old ancestor of the Fu Li clan? Ning Fan's eyes flashed with a hint of joy that was hard to notice. Black Dragon Heaven Devouring Technique, huh? This technique is not bad. It seems to be a secret technique of the Black Dragon clan that allows high-grade bloodlines to devour low-grade bloodlines. This technique is not difficult to master. However, only the bloodline of the Black Dragon with royal bloodline or above can unleash its true power. This technique could not only devour black dragons but also all the dragons in the world. In ancient times, the reason why the black dragons were so domineering was because they could forcefully devour the corpses of other dragons to strengthen themselves. This was the meaning of the saying, when the 5 dragons die, the black dragon will live. What do I have to do for you to let me go? As long as you let me go, I am willing to switch sides and help you kill Zhu Feng. The black dragon begged. Let you go? Ridiculous. Even though your bloodline is inferior, your cultivation base is at the void glimpse stage. Since that's the case, I shouldn't waste it. Ning Fan patted his storage pouch and took out the black dragon refined corpse that he had not used for a long time. He made a hand seal and controlled the dragon corpse to enlarge its body. Then, it opened its mouth to form the void space and swallowed the black dragon with the incomplete bloodline. And no. The black dragon with the incomplete bloodline was frightened. He could naturally see that Ning Fan had a black dragon refined corpse. Moreover, Ning Fan wanted to use that corpse to imitate the black dragon heaven devouring technique to devour him. Terrifying. Terrifying. If he was not mistaken, that black dragon refined corpse was actually a black dragon with royal bloodline that had been extinct for a long time. There was actually someone in this world who dared to use a black dragon with royal bloodline to refine a corpse. Moreover, this person was even more audacious and wanted to devour him. He would certainly die. Let me go. Ah! He let out a blood-curdling scream and died. Every trace of his blood essence, flesh and blood was devoured by the black dragon refined corpse. Ning Fan had secretly learned the black dragon heaven devouring technique and used the black dragon refined corpse to devour his opponent's black dragon. After devouring the void glimpse stage black dragon, the grade of the half-step void refinement realm dragon corpse suddenly skyrocketed. Almost in an instant, it broke through to the void glimpse stage. Ning Fan now had another void glimpse stage helper. Chu Nanfeng was extremely shocked. That black dragon that had given him so much trouble was actually subdued by Ning Fan's strange great ability and was easily killed. Void Pierce Stage. He must be a Void Pierce Stage expert. Even a Void Inquiry Stage expert would not be able to kill this black dragon instantly. He was even more convinced that Ning Fan was a Void Pierce Stage old monster. After devouring the primordial lightning and keeping the golden jade, Ning Fan gave Chu Nanfeng a deep look and turned around to head to the other battlefields. Every time he went to a battlefield, there would be a Void Glimpse Stage expert of the Lightning Palace facing a calamity. At this moment, Ning Fan alone had combat power equivalent to 5 Void Glimpse Stage experts. In addition to the 5 experts of the Myriad Treasure Pavilion, he was besieging the remaining 3 Void Glimpse Stage experts of the Lightning Palace. In just the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, the 3 of them had fallen one after another. This also indicated that from this moment on, Zhu Feng was the only one left in the Lightning Palace of the Zhong Mountain. Moreover, his combat power was still being suppressed by Lei Shi. Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. How could a mere half-step void refinement realm expert be able to change the situation of the battle? This isn't real. I don't believe it. Zhu Feng's 9 Void Glimpse Stage subordinates had died on the Zhong Mountain. 3 of his Void Glimpse Stage subordinates had died on the outskirts of the Zhong Mountain. The foundation that he had built up throughout his life was nearly destroyed by Ning Fan alone. Even if he displayed a heaven-defying technique today and slaughtered all his enemies on the Zhong Mountain, he would not be able to maintain his position as the Lightning Lord anymore. Zhu Feng, you have underestimated Zhou Ming too much. This young man's strength is far beyond your imagination. If I'm not mistaken, he has yet to use his true trump card in this battle. Most likely, he is saving his trump card to deal with Ing Longzi. Lei Shi no longer addressed Ing Longzi as king. His confidence in Ning Fan suddenly rose in his heart. He firmly believed that Ning Fan would kill all the way to the 24th floor and kill Ing Longzi in no time. Zhu Feng, in the past, you devoured my wife. Have you ever thought that this day would come? Even if you have 3 heads and 6 arms, I will still make you die on the Zhong Mountain today. Void Technique, Void Lightning Abacus. Lei Shi pointed a finger at the sky. The void power in the sky gathered and formed the shape of black lightning, turning into a black lightning abacus that was as large as a mountain. The abacus suddenly collapsed. The 50 black lightning abacus were like balls of black lightning fireballs. Each of them was 10,000 zhang in size. They fell from the sky like 50 black meteors. Each of their attacks was powerful enough to hurt a void glimpse stage cultivator. Even a void inquiry stage expert would be injured by the 50 combined attacks. Such a terrifying technique greatly exceeded Zhu Feng's expectation. He hurriedly formed a series of hand seals and formed layers of golden lightning light barriers in an attempt to block this technique. However, the layers of golden lightning light barriers were all destroyed by Lei Shi in an instant. All 50 black meteors landed on Zhu Feng's chest without exception. Rumble. Rumble. Rumble, rays of black lightning fire that could destroy heaven and earth flattened the ground. The mountains and rivers within 100,000 li were all decayed. The lightning fire burned the ground. On the vast land, Zhu Feng half knelt on the ground. His qi was already weak. He stared at Lei Shi with resentment. He was defeated by Lei Shi in the end. The current Zhu Feng did not have the strength to fight anymore. However, he also knew that he could not escape. I'm going to die. I, a dignified expert of the 11th level of the lightning technique, am also going to die. No. He wanted to drag Lei Shi and Ning Fan down to hell with him. The storm of the Zhong Mountain is an immortal void realm technique. Other than breaking my invisibility, there is also the life and death second tribulation formation hidden within it. Once the life and death second tribulation is activated, I will need to sacrifice my life. However, I will certainly be able to kill all of you. Lei Shi, you forced me to do this. Let us die together. Zhu Feng revealed a maniacal smile. He crushed the formation disc and ignited his primordial spirit at this moment. At the moment he ignited his primordial spirit, the raindrops in the Zhong Mountain were suddenly surrounded by traces of lightning. Countless lightning rays turned into 10 lightning dragons. 5 of them were azure dragons and the other 5 were yellow dragons. All of the 10 lightning dragons were at the void inquiry stage. The first tribulation, the death tribulation formation. The wind and rain of Zhong Mountain, rise from the azure and yellow. As soon as the technique was completed, the expressions of the cultivators of the Myriad Treasure Pavilion changed drastically. No one expected that the grand formation of the Zhong Mountain would actually contain such a death tribulation that could transform into 10 void inquiry stage lightning dragons. Even Lei Shi's expression changed greatly. Each of the lightning dragons in this place was not weaker than him. He could not withstand 10 lightning dragons at the same time. So what if they are lightning dragons? When the crowd of cultivators was filled with fear, Ning Fan raised his head and looked at the sky. His black hair danced wildly in the wind. His eyes were bright like the sun and moon, making him look like the god of lightning that had descended to the world. Beneath his feet, a massive blood-red lightning diagram unfolded. The lightning diagram was expanded to 100,000 li. Within that area, the attacks of the 10 void inquiry stage lightning dragons could not break the lightning diagram at all. At the moment when the lightning diagram was fully expanded, all the lightning element undead spirits felt a shiver run down their spines. Even the 10 Void Inquiry Stage Lightning Dragons began to panic. Just a mere Void Inquiry Stage Lightning Dragon dares to disobey me? You are courting death. Ning Fan's tone was imitating Tai Su's. Stepping on the lightning diagram, he looked down on the lightning dragons as if he was looking down on ants. It would be fine if these lightning dragons had Void Pierce stage cultivation base. However, they were just at the Void Inquiry stage. In that case, Ning Fan would devour all of them. Devour. As Ning Fan uttered the word, the lightning diagram suddenly released an unimaginable tearing force, sucking the 10 lightning dragons into it one after another. Then, 10 miserable shrieks resounded in the air. All 10 dragons were devoured by the lightning diagram. The massive primordial lightning power was refined into the lightning armor, causing it to advance to the 3rd level of the golden armor realm. The entire Zhong Mountain fell into dead silence. Zhu Feng's eyes widened. His cold smile was still frozen on his face. He could not believe that the 10 Void Inquiry Stage black dragons that he summoned at the cost of burning his primordial spirit were so vulnerable. All of the 10 lightning dragons were at the Void Inquiry Stage. All of them were existences that could command the wind and clouds. However, they were killed by Ning Fan just as they showed their faces. How was this possible? Since when did the lightning dragons become so weak? No. It's not that the lightning dragons were weak. It's that lightning diagram technique that is too powerful. What kind of lightning diagram is that? What kind of technique is that exactly? Could it be one of the strongest abilities of Lightning Emperor Tai Su, the Tai Su lightning diagram? No. This is absolutely impossible. Lightning Emperor Tai Su commands all lightning and no one dares to disobey him. Only the Lightning Emperor is qualified to devour lightning dragons like it's child's play. This technique has long been lost since the time of the Lightning Emperor. Even true immortals could not learn it. It's impossible for a mere half-step Void Refinement Realm Junior to learn this technique. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Zhu Feng roared again and again. He seemed to be laughing and crying at the same time. He had truly gone mad. Lei Shi could not help but let out a sigh. He had been opposing Zhu Feng his entire life. Now that he had finally won, he saw Zhu Feng end up in such a deranged state. He could not help but feel a little empty and hollow. Be careful. That Zhu Feng said that this Zhong Mountain's wind and rain formation has a total of 2 calamity formations of life and death. The lightning dragon just now was a killing calamity formation. I'm afraid that there is also a life calamity formation hidden in this place. Do not give Zhu Feng another chance to activate the formation light. Lei Shi sent a voice transmission to remind Zhu Feng. In a flash, he flew towards Zhu Feng without the slightest bit of mercy. Ning Fan nodded his head. Stepping on the lightning diagram, he dashed towards Zhu Feng. The other Void Refinement Realm cultivators of the Myriad Treasure Pavilion also became excited and launched their final attacks at Zhu Feng. Once Zhu Feng was killed, the Myriad Treasure Pavilion would become the master of the 11th floor from today onwards, and Lei Shi would be the new Lightning Master. As Lei Shi's trusted subordinates, they were naturally willing to see this happen. You want to kill me? Trying to stop the opening of the Tribulations Array? You're wrong, wrong. The Life Tribulations formation had already been activated, but none of you knew. It's too late now. All of you will die together with me in the end. Zhu Feng laughed like a mad devil. He allowed the attacks to land on his body but he did not dodge them at all. Each of the magic techniques was enough to kill Zhu Feng, who was in a critical condition. However, the strange thing was that Zhu Feng was only injured after being hit by these magic techniques. He did not die. After a while, his injuries healed at a strange speed. As for the experts of the Myriad Treasure Pavilion and the Lightning Palace, including Ning Fan, their hair began to turn pale. Everyone's lifespan had been strangely snatched away to heal Zhu Feng's injuries. The second tribulation, the life tribulation formation. If heaven has feelings, heaven will also age. As soon as Zhu Feng's words fell, everyone's lifespan flowed away at a rapid speed. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. The profoundness of this immortal void realm grand formation was completely beyond his expectations. Besides, if he was not mistaken, the reason why this immortal void realm grand formation could take away one's lifespan was because a trace of the power of time had been integrated into the formation light. Within his body, there was a trace of the blood of time that was eager to give it a try. He was also not afraid of the power of time. Chapter 428. The cultivators were all shocked. A great formation that seized one's lifespan was simply unheard of. Stealing one's lifespan was a great Tao technique. Even perfected immortals might not be able to use this technique. However, this immortal void realm grand array was able to simulate this technique. Within the thunderstorm, within the grand formation, the dead spirits didn't differentiate between friend and foe, and their lifespans were rapidly decreasing. Their hair turned white, and their appearances gradually aged. A few experts who were nearing the end of their lifespans were sucked in by the formation and lost the last of their lifespans, dying just like that. As for the other experts, it was only a matter of time before their lifespans were drained. What a strange formation! Lei Shi and the other experts tried their best to shatter the formation light. However, the formation light was an immortal void realm formation. After absorbing the vitality of the people, its defense had increased to a terrifying level. It was not something that Lei Shi and the others could break. Are we really going to perish together with this Zhu Feng in this place? Despair appeared on the faces of countless experts. At this moment, Zhu Feng had already sacrificed his life and was in a state where he could not be killed. The formation could not be broken. The entire Zhong mountain range was a formation. Every drop of thunder rain was a ghost that sought souls. Zhu Feng smiled complacently. Everyone's panic fell into his eyes. Yes, that's how it should be. He wanted these people to feel the despair he had felt before. To Zhu Feng, who would definitely die after the sacrifice, every single expression of despair on his face was the greatest consolation before his death. However, when Zhu Feng's gaze swept past Ning Fan, he suddenly became furious. Why is he so calm? This is impossible. Zhu Feng was infuriated. Ning Fan was the main culprit who caused him to end up like this. What he wanted to see the most was Ning Fan's despairing expression. Only then would he feel satisfied. However, Ning Fan, who was trapped in the formation, was not afraid at all. On the contrary, his expression was as calm as an ancient well. After a while, he even slightly closed his eyes, leaving only 3 puppets and 1 corpse to protect him. Let his black hair turn white, let his skin turn dry and wrinkled, let his back turn crooked, let the years turn old. Ning Fan did not resist at all and just let the grand formation absorb his lifespan. Lifespan was the upper limit of a cultivator's lifespan. Losing one's lifespan would not affect one's skeletal age. Some cultivators had lived for thousands of years but still looked young. This was because they still had enough lifespan. With the loss of their lifespan would gradually come to an end. Only then would cultivators begin to age. Of course, there were also cultivators who liked the appearance of an old man, so it was normal for them to do so. Up until now, Ning Fan had been cultivating with the help of time again and again. However, his bone age was only around 500 years. As a divine transformation realm cultivator, he could live for 5,000 to 6,000 years. His lifespan was ample and he naturally would not show any signs of aging. However, as his lifespan flowed into the grand formation bit by bit, his lifespan disappeared. Even he could not help but show signs of aging. Even though the immortal void grand formation was powerful, Ning Fan could totally use his wind mist finger to tear open a crack and leave. However, he did not do that. There was a reason why he chose to stay here and not break the formation or escape. His heart was in harmony with the formation. He seemed to have comprehended something, and then it faded away. The strand of blood of time was born from devouring the time crystal, and at this moment, it was increasing bit by bit. Time. If I can control this trace of blood of time at will, not only will my lifespan not be taken away by the formation light, I can even reverse it. I have never aged before. How can I comprehend the power of time? To me, aging this time is the best time to comprehend the blood of time. Having made up his mind, Ning Fan removed his defenses and allowed the formation light to take away his lifespan. Moreover, he even tried to use the power of time in reverse to send his lifespan out of the formation light. Thus, the speed at which he aged was 10 times faster than the others. Seeing Ning Fan pretending to be calm, Zhu Feng half knelt on the ground with a mocking expression. From his point of view, Ning Fan's pretense of being calm was just a bluff. He definitely did not think that Ning Fan could break a dignified immortal void grand formation. No one could kill Zhu Feng. He was also so weak that he could not use a trace of magic power and could not attack anyone. All he wanted was to perish together with all his enemies. That way, he could barely enjoy the pleasure of taking revenge. Ning Fan's lifespan decreased rapidly. From the appearance of a 20-year-old young man, he gradually turned into a middle-aged man who was in his 30s or 40s. Then, he turned into an old man who was in his 60s or 70s. His heart's understanding of time deepened gradually. Standing at the age of 30, having no doubts at the age of 40, knowing the destiny of heaven at the age of 50, being obedient at the age of 60 and following the heart's desires at the age of 70, along with the changes in his appearance, his heart had also aged once. His hair was white and his face was covered with wrinkles. He was getting old. He opened his turbid eyes and glanced at the lightning rain grand formation indifferently. There was neither joy nor sorrow in his eyes. He was indifferent to favors and insults. In this short period of time, Ning Fan's mental state had obtained a great improvement. What is time? A poem by a cultivator says, time is a passerby of 100 generations. The length of a cultivator's life is as long as a mortal's 100 generations. To a cultivator, time is the passing of time. It's their lifespan. To a mountain, time is the cracks that are carved on the rocks. It's the mark of weathering. To rivers, lakes and oceans, time is the vicissitudes of a vast ocean turning into a vast field. Ning Fan muttered to himself. In his dantian, a trace of the blood of time was slowly peeled off and swallowed by his primordial spirit which was clad in golden armor. In the past, he could not devour the blood of time as he wished. Now, he had aged overnight. However, through the aging of his body and mind, he had comprehended the profoundness of time. There are some things that you won't be able to comprehend in your entire life if you don't experience it yourself and only rely on self-cultivation. For example, flowing water and time. Ning Fan's turbid and aged eyes suddenly flashed with a ray of light. He had found the trace of the flow of time. I have comprehended the meaning of time, but I still can't control it freely. All of this is because my cultivation realm is too low and I can't comprehend an immortal technique of that level. However, from this grand formation, I have discovered a method to control time. Taking away someone's lifespan can make them grow old. Taking away the lifespan of heaven and earth can make heaven and earth grow old. As for the method to take away someone's lifespan, it's to take away the time of others to make up for the time that I have lost to balance. This grand formation is able to take away someone's lifespan because a trace of the power of time has been integrated into it. I have a trace of the power of time in my body, so I can also take away someone's lifespan. Ning Fan's hair was as white as snow. His calm eyes swept across Zhu Feng and said indifferently, "I'll accept your great gift." Great gift? Humph. What nonsense are you talking about? When have I ever given you a great gift? What I have given you is just a great tribulation of life and death to take your life. Zhu Feng sneered. He thought that Ning Fan must have become muddle-headed because he was about to die and was spouting nonsense. Ning Fan did not answer him. He used his actions to tell Zhu Feng that the grand formation that Zhu Feng activated by sacrificing his life was a great gift to Ning Fan. Break! Ning Fan's aged voice resounded through the bell. His eyes suddenly shot out a ray of golden light. That golden light was neither sword chi nor golden lightning. Instead, it was a strange and unpredictable power. That kind of power was not as profound as samsara. However, as soon as it appeared, both Lei Shi and Zhu Feng could not understand it. Zhu Feng, in particular, exclaimed in surprise. What is this? What a terrifying power! However, no matter how terrifying this power is, it's just a ray of light. It definitely can't break the grand formation. Halfway through his words, he suddenly choked. In the night sky, the pure golden ray of time easily pierced into the formation light with a chi sound like a needle piercing a piece of tofu. At the next moment, the grand formation rumbled and fell into chaos. It was because the trace of time power that was originally added to the formation light had been taken away by Ning Fan. That trace of time power was similar to the power of Ning Fan's blood of time. However, it was still slightly inferior as it was left behind by the Grandmaster who created this formation. The time power that he left in the formation was devoured by Ning Fan. If it wasn't benefiting Ning Fan, what else could it be? Devour. After injecting the blood of time into the formation light, Ning Fan began to devour the time power within the formation light with a thought. The effect of the grand formation of Zhong Mountain gradually weakened. In the end, it actually could not take away any of the cultivator's life force at all. Ning Fan clenched his 5 fingers and the formation light collapsed with a loud bang. A trace of golden ray was summoned back to his hand. He then swallowed it into his abdomen and refined it into his primordial spirit. Inside his primordial spirit, the golden ray was divided into 2 traces of blood of time. There was one more trace. The extra trace was naturally devoured from the formation light. Impossible. An immortal void realm grand formation was actually broken by a trace of your golden light. What exactly is that golden light? Zhu Feng was greatly shocked. He raised his head and looked at the sky. There were pieces of dark red crystals floating in the sky. Each of them contained 100 years of life force. In total, there were thousands of them. Those crystals were condensed from the life force of countless experts who had been extracted. Those crystals could be taken away but they could not be devoured because these cultivators were not proficient in the power of time. Zhu Feng could not believe it. Why was an immortal void realm grand formation that no one had ever been able to break before destroyed by a divine transformation realm junior? As the grand formation was broken, Zhu Feng's lifespan had reached its limit. He let out a miserable cry and died with his eyes wide open. The golden jade of primordial lightning still belonged to Ning Fan. At the moment of his death, the foothills of Zhong Mountain within 100,000 li collapsed. The thunderstorm stopped for the first time. The grand formation was gone. In the night sky, the life force crystals were gradually disappearing in the vast sky because no one could refine them. As the saying went, flowers will bloom again but people will never be young again. Cultivators who looked as old as Ning Fan could not regain their lifespan and regain their youthfulness. Ning Fan raised his head and looked at the sky. He always had the power of time. Thus, he could refine these crystals. If he were to consume these crystals, not only would he be able to regain his youth, but he would also be able to obtain a lifespan of over 100,000 years. In his mind, he recalled his understanding of the grand formation of Zhong Mountain. Then, he raised his hand and pointed at the sky. He activated the power of the heart formation and drew a formation diagram in the sky. His heart array was not enough to draw an immortal void realm array diagram, but he created a peak transcendent realm array diagram by imitating the Zhong Mountain array diagram. Although its grade was not at the void grade, it contained the profound mysteries of the vicissitudes of time. With a flash of formation light, all the life force crystals were swallowed into the formation and refined into Ning Fan's body. With each step he took, he looked younger and younger. From a white-haired old man, he gradually turned back into a white-robed young man. Not only did he look younger, but his lifespan had also increased by 100,000 years. Only void fragmentation realm old monsters could live for 100,000 years. Ning Fan had yet to attain the void fragmentation realm. He was just at the divine transformation realm, but he could already live up to 100,000 years. Moreover, as long as he is willing to, he could still borrow the power of time to rob others of their lifespan. It would not be difficult for him to achieve immortality like an immortal. The power of time was truly heaven-defying. If other old monsters had Ning Fan's opportunity and Tao comprehension, obtaining the power of time, condensing the blood of time, comprehending the time divine ability and refining their lifespan with the heart formation, those old monsters would certainly be able to achieve immortality too. Unfortunately, they did not dare to steal the time crystals, nor could they comprehend the power of time. Besides, they did not have the heart formation divine ability. Besides, to the 7 steps of cultivation, immortality might be precious. However, to immortals, everyone could achieve immortality. The so-called longevity was not something to be proud of at all. To Ning Fan, lifespan was of little value. He did not lack lifespan. What he lacked was time. He was in too much of a hurry and his time was too tight. Fellow Taoist Zhou, good technique. What exactly did you do to actually break this formation? Besides, did little friend swallow all of those life force crystals? Lei Shi asked doubtfully. Pavilion Lord Lei, do you think that I can swallow those crystals? Ning Fan did not answer his question but asked a question instead. He. It's my fault for asking so abruptly. What does it have to do with me whether fellow Taoist can swallow those crystals or not? Lei Shi hurriedly waved his hand, indicating that he did not have the intention to inquire about Ning Fan's background. Zhu Feng was already dead and he had taken his revenge. Thus, he was very pleased. As for the reason why he could take his revenge, it was all because of Ning Fan's help. Lei Shi must remember this favor. Therefore, he would not do such a rude thing to inquire about Ning Fan's background. Such heaven-defying technique was enough to make countless void fragmentation realm old monsters who were at the end of their lifespans go crazy. Regardless of whether Ning Fan had such a technique or not, Lei Shi would not even ask about it. If he did, he would only bring trouble to Ning Fan. All the void refinement realm experts of the Lightning Palace of Zhong Mountain were killed. The Myriad Treasure Pavilion went on a one-sided massacre. In the end, Zhong Mountain was razed to the ground. Each of the lightning jades belonged to Lei Shi. Even the golden jades that Ning Fan obtained were given to Lei Shi. As for the lightning of his primordial spirit, all of them belonged to Ning Fan. Without Lei Shi's help, Ning Fan would certainly need to expend a lot of effort to destroy Zhong Mountain alone. Giving him some lightning jades was not worth mentioning. After wiping out the lightning palace of Zhong Mountain and devouring countless primordial lightning, his lightning armor was only 4,000 traces of divine transformation realm primordial lightning away from achieving a breakthrough. If it is converted to void refinement realm primordial lightning, just 40 traces would be enough. Little friend, what do you want? Do you still want to kill your way to the 24th floor? Do you still need my help? Lei Shi gritted his teeth and finally took the initiative to ask. Oh. Isn't Pavilion Lord Lei afraid of King Yinglong and afraid to help me? Why aren't you afraid now? Ning Fan looked at Lei Shi deeply. He could see the struggle and fear on Lei Shi's face. Previously, Lei Shi was afraid of King Yinglong and was only willing to help Ning Fan kill Zhu Feng. Now, Lei Shi was still afraid of King Yinglong but he was willing to help Ning Fan kill his way to the 24th floor. This person seemed to want to repay Ning Fan's kindness. I am still afraid of King Yinglong. However, without little friend's help, all the experts of the Myriad Treasure Pavilion would have died in the hands of that evil creature, Zhu Feng. That formation light is too powerful to take away one's lifespan. If it wasn't for little friend, no one would be able to break it. I must repay little friend for saving my life. The people of my Myriad Treasure Pavilion have already died once. Even if little friend is no match for King Yinglong, we are still willing to help you and die together with you. Pavilion Lord is right. We are willing to help fellow Taoist Zhou kill his way to the 24th floor. Chu Nanfeng and Mo Feiyun responded at the same time. Ning Fan kept silent for a moment. It was really rare for this Myriad Treasure Pavilion to know how to repay a favor. With the help of the Myriad Treasure Pavilion, it would be much easier for him to kill his way to the 24th floor. Thus, he naturally would not reject their offer. After cleaning up the battlefield and taking a rest, everyone prepared to cross the teleportation formation and enter the 12th floor. At this moment, a group of cultivators charged towards them aggressively from outside the Zhong Mountain. They shouted loudly while fleeing at top speed. We, the 10 Void Glimpse stage experts, have come late. Please forgive us, Lightning Lord Zhu Feng. Hee. I won't let you take all the credit for killing Zhou Ming. 10 Void Glimpse stage experts and 1,000 Divine Transformation Realm experts were obviously here to snatch the credit. All of them rushed to this place from the 10th floor without stopping. They were afraid that they would not be able to get the credit for killing Ning Fan if they were late. However, as soon as they arrived at the Zhong Mountain, each of the old monsters was dumbfounded. What is going on? What kind of situation is this? The 100,000 li of the Zhong Mountain had turned into ruins. Countless undead spirits had died and blood flowed like a river. Among those corpses, there were nascent soul realm experts, divine transformation realm experts and even void refinement realm experts. Ma Renwang is dead. Li Gui is dead. Yen Daozi is dead. And Gu Feng. The Lightning Lord of the 10th floor broke out in cold sweat. He could not believe the scene in front of him. When his eyes fell on Zhu Feng's corpse, his heart nearly jumped out of his throat. All 10 Void Glimpse stage old monsters including the Lightning Lord of the 10th floor were shocked. Zhu Feng. Zhu Feng is dead. This is absolutely impossible. He is a Void Inquiry stage old monster. How can he die? Why? Hee. Wouldn't it be better to ask him directly after you die? Lei Shi smiled wretchedly. He led the people of the Myriad Treasure Pavilion and surrounded the group of experts. All of them were sent by King Yinglong. After killing Zhu Feng, Lei Shi could still use the old grudge as an excuse. But after killing these people, he would completely fall out with King Yinglong. However, Lei Shi was a decisive person. Since he had promised to help Ning Fan deal with King Yinglong, he would not go back on his words. He would not let any of these people go. Kill. Ning Fan took a step and rose into the sky. After he recovered, he could already display the aspect of self-technique again and create 2 golden shadows. 1 human, 2 shadows, 1 corpse and 3 puppets. Ning Fan alone was equivalent to the combat power of 7 Void Glimpse stage experts. Those 6 people could be considered as Ning Fan's slaves. 1 human and 6 slaves instantly stabilized the Lightning Lord of the 10th floor and launched their most violent attacks. In just an instant, they severely injured the Lightning Lord of the 10th floor. Impossible. When I was chasing after you back then, you clearly only had the strength to run away. Why are you so strong now? Ah! The Lightning Lord of the 10th floor could not believe his eyes. After being besieged by Ning Fan and his 6 slaves, he was severely injured in just an instant. In the next round, his injuries were already fatal. He died with a miserable shriek. Until his death, He could not understand how Ning Fan's strength could increase so much in just a few days. He died with everlasting regret. How regretful. If he knew that Ning Fan was so strong, his brain must have been hit by a door to have chased after him. If he knew that Ning Fan was so strong, his brain must have been damaged by water to have rushed to the 11th floor to die. How regretful. Chapter 429. After Zhu Feng's death, the 11th floor of the Lightning Tower was leveled by Ning Fan. After being besieged by Ning Fan and Lei Shi, 4 of the 10 Void Refinement Realm experts who came to seek their own deaths had died. Among the 10, only 6 were still alive. They were refined into dead spirit puppets by Lei Shi at a hefty price. After the primordial lightning was extracted, it belonged to Ning Fan. After killing the lightning lords of the 11th floor, Ning Fan already had 11 pieces of lightning leaves. It was more than enough to save Hong Yi. Lei Shi retained his puppet cultivation, so naturally, he would not be able to obtain the Thunder Jade. To Lei Shi, a piece of golden-grade Thunder Jade was not as valuable as a puppet. After killing Zhu Feng, Lei Shi would become the Thunder Master of the 11th floor from then on. He would need a lot of combat power to rule the 11th floor. These spiritual puppets were refined using Void Glimpse stage cultivators. Their cultivation bases were lower than the Void Glimpse stage but higher than the half-step Void Refinement realm. It was similar to an illusory Void realm. This kind of spiritual puppet could only be controlled by an undead spirit. Besides, it could not be brought out of the Lightning Tower. Therefore, Ning Fan would not covet these spiritual puppets. In fact, he was not even interested in them at all. Thus, he left all of them to Lei Shi to handle. The 10 Void Refinement Realm experts and 1,000 Divine Transformation Realm experts who sacrificed themselves contributed 1,000 traces of Divine Transformation Realm Primordial Lightning and 10 traces of Void Refinement Realm Primordial Lightning. The quality of his lightning armor had improved significantly. After devouring another 2,000 Divine Transformation Realm cultivators or 20 Void Refinement Realm cultivators, he would be able to break through to the 3rd level of the Golden Armor Realm. There were countries in the mortal world that prospered because of war. Ning Fan and Lei Shi had also expanded their strength and improved their cultivation base because of the battle. The group of them activated the teleportation array and were teleported to the 12th floor of the Thunder Tower. The 12th layer was a world of clouds and mist. The clouds were all thunderclouds. There were many dead spirits and ferocious beasts hidden within the thunderclouds. Normally, when the undead spirit cultivators entered the 12th level, they would travel through the sea of clouds with extreme caution. Even Lei Shi had to restrain himself a little when he occasionally went up to the 12th level. This time, however, with Ning Fan leading the way, they unleashed their full aura force. Lei Shi and the others also did not hold back their sharpness and marched forward recklessly in the sea of clouds. As long as there were experts blocking the way or ferocious beasts ambushing them, they would all be killed without question. In the 12th floor of the Thunder Palace, the Thunder Lord Huang Yunzi had a gloomy expression. He had heard about the destruction of the 11th floor. He also heard that Zhu Feng died in the hands of a half-step Void Refinement Realm Junior. That junior was the person who was wanted by King Ying. Long rumor had it that his strength was comparable to a Void Inquiry stage expert and he could even fight against a Void Pierce stage cultivator. What a joke! It's impossible for a half-step Void Refinement Realm cultivator to have Void Inquiry stage combat power, let alone Void Pierce stage. Huang Yunzi had never believed in these rumors. He had once rejected Dragon King's order to not send anyone to the lower worlds to hunt Ning Fan down. He did not believe that Ning Fan had the ability to kill Zhu Feng. However, he believed in Lei Shi's strength. He had met Lei Shi before. In his mind, Lei Shi was a patient person. It was not strange for him to be able to eliminate Zhu Feng and unify the 11th floor. Huang Yunzi was a Void Inquiry stage expert. However, just like the majority of Void Inquiry stage experts, he was unwilling to submit to King Ying Long. He sent out more than 10 half-step void refinement realm cultivators to secretly investigate the situation of Lei Shi and the others. If Lei Shi and the others really had the strength to go against King Yinglong, he would be more than happy to not stop them and let them directly enter the 12th floor to disgust King Yinglong. All the spies that were sent out returned with the same news. The force of Lei Shi's group was indeed not weak. However, the leader of this group of cultivators was not Lei Shi but Ning Fan. How could this be? With Lei Shi's shrewdness, why would he listen to the instructions of a Divine Transformation Realm junior for no reason? Could it be that this junior really has strength comparable to a Void Inquiry stage expert? This is simply absurd. The night sky had yet to completely disperse. A waning moon was still hanging in the sky, indicating that dawn was approaching. At this moment, outside the lightning palace in the sea of clouds, the sound of an intruder suddenly resounded. Then, a clear and loud voice that carried terrifying baleful qi came from afar. I'm Zhou Ming. I want to borrow Lightning Lord Huang Yunzi's teleportation formation. I hope you can make an exception for me. The voice revealed Ning Fan's half-step void refinement realm qi. It seemed like he was not worthy of Huang Yunzi's attention. However, the baleful qi in this voice was so strong that it was unimaginable. The moment the voice entered Huang Yunzi's ears, he felt layers of illusions appearing in front of his eyes. Each of the illusions was a flowing sea of blood. How many void refinement realm old monsters has this young man actually killed? Why does he actually have such terrifying baleful qi? Huang Yunzi could no longer sit still. There was no need to investigate Ning Fan's background anymore. He had already deeply realized that Ning Fan must not be provoked. Huang Yunzi was a Void Inquiry stage expert. However, this Void Inquiry stage expert was still slightly weaker than Zhu Feng. He could not afford to offend Ning Fan. Guards! Pass down my order. No one is allowed to attack the people from the Myriad Treasure Pavilion. Let them use the teleportation formation freely. Those who disobey will be executed. Huang Yunzi said in an irrefutable manner. But. Young Master has already led his men to attack. He even announced that he is going to capture Zhou Ming and ask King Yinglong for a reward. A Void Glimpse stage old monster said with a trembling voice. Unfilial son. I shouldn't have accepted him in the past. Huang Yunzi's expression changed greatly. He did not dare to provoke Ning Fan at all. However, his good son had gone to cause trouble for him. The so-called son was just a foster son. If it wasn't because he valued Ning Fan's background and that he could make use of him, why would he, Huang Yunzi, accept such an idiot as his foster son? He no longer hesitated and summoned all the experts with a solemn expression. Their purpose was not to attack Ning Fan but to stop his foster son. When Huang Yunzi hurried to the teleportation formation, his heart thumped when he saw Ning Fan being surrounded by two Void Glimpse stage experts. I'm late. One of the two Void Glimpse stage experts was short and the other was fat. Both of them were his son's personal guardians. Each of them had a terrifying early Void Refinement Realm cultivation base. Behind the two Void Glimpse stage experts stood a young man wearing a peach-colored robe. His cultivation base was at the late Divine Transformation Realm. His peach blossom eyes were filled with disdain and mockery. Ku Er, the two of you kill this young man. When I ask King Yinglong for a reward, I will remember the two of you. Remember, this young man is a little cunning and his concealment technique is quite good. Don't give him any time to hide. Don't worry, young master. The two of us know what to do. The two Void Glimpse stage experts chuckled coldly. Each of them took out a handful of silver ash that smelled of blood and sprinkled it into the sky. It turned into specks of silver flames and disappeared. At the next moment, Ning Fan felt that his body was branded with a fishy smell that he could neither get rid of nor get rid of. Ning Fan's eyes turned grim. It seemed like the two of them wanted to lock onto him with their smell. He did not want to cause any trouble. He did not have that much time. He just wanted to kill his way to the 24th floor as soon as possible and eliminate King Yinglong. After that, he would leave this place and complete Hong Yi's mission. Yu Lingkong was waiting for Hong Yi's golden leaf to save her life. Ning Fan did not have the mood to waste any more time here. However, since the other party had come to provoke him and wanted to kill him to earn a reward, Ning Fan would certainly not tolerate it given his personality. Young man. You've been hit by our fire scale ash. Even if you hide yourself, you won't be able to hide this smell. Your concealment technique has already been broken by us. Let's see what other methods you have to fight against us void glimpse stage experts. Ku De and Ku Er sneered complacently. Lei Shi was enraged. Ku De and Ku Er were really despicable. Once someone comes into contact with the fire scale ash, it would take a few days for them to get rid of it. Even if Ning Fan kills his way to the 13th floor, he would certainly be delayed by this ash. He would not be able to conceal himself and lose his safety. Fellow Daoist Zhou, I will take care of them. You bring your men and go to the 13th floor first. Lei Shi shouted angrily. No need. They are looking for me. Two mere void glimpse stage experts are not worth mentioning. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with cold light. That cold light was like twinkling starlight. At the next moment, 99 black stars appeared at the peak of the sea of clouds. Within the starlight, Ning Fan reached out his palm and made a grabbing motion. The traces of starlight immediately turned into a starlight bow that shone with dazzling black light. When he drew the bow, heaven and earth trembled. When he pulled the bowstring, an arrow shocked the world. Ning Fan drew the bow and shot an arrow at Ku De and Ku Er. All of a sudden, the complacent expressions on Ku De and Ku Er's faces turned into astonishment. An unprecedented look of astonishment appeared in their eyes and they could not get rid of it. Sounds of astonishment could be heard from 10,000 li away. Starlight healing technique. Besides, it's actually the legendary black stars. This person has 99 natal stars to protect his body. Unless there's a void fragmentation realm old monster who can destroy his stars, a mere void refinement realm old monster will not be able to break through his star technique. This person is almost immune to all void glimpse stage attacks. It was his first time seeing the starlight healing technique with his own eyes. This technique was passed down in ancient books. Its destructive power was extremely strong and it was certainly invincible among cultivators at the same level as it. What kind of bow technique is this? The destructive power of a single bow can make heaven and earth tremble. It can shake the grand momentum and shatter the hollow space. I definitely won't be able to block the destructive power of this young man's bow. The other void glimpse stage old monster felt his scalp go numb just by looking at Ning Fan's bow and arrow from afar. His intention to stop the battle was also dispelled. Huang Yunzi sighed. He knew that if this arrow falls, even if Ku De and Ku Er did not die, they would be severely injured and their cultivation bases would be greatly damaged. He wanted to save the two of them but he could not do so. Firstly, Lei Shi was secretly watching Huang Yunzi. Once Huang Yunzi interferes, he would also interfere. Secondly, Huang Yunzi really did not want to offend Ning Fan. Once he takes action, the situation would no longer be salvageable. While Lei Shi was secretly staring at Huang Yunzi, his heart was filled with shock. Even Lei Shi did not have the confidence to withstand the destructive power of Ning Fan's bow without sustaining any injuries. If Ning Fan breaks through to the void refinement realm, even if his cultivation base is at the void glimpse stage, he would still be able to severely injure Lei Shi with this arrow. This young man really did not use his full strength on the 11th floor. Lei Shi nodded his head and muttered to himself. However, at the next moment, his expression changed greatly. He saw Ning Fan draw the bow and draw the arrow. However, he did not shoot it immediately. Instead, he dispersed the bow and arrow. His eyes seemed to be dissatisfied. No. It's not like that. The difference in power between Great Emperor Mo Luo's star-punishing bow and my bow is like heaven and earth. Is it because my bow does not have devil runes engraved on it? Ning Fan closed his eyes and recalled the majestic scene when Mo Luo defeated Tai Su with a single arrow. All of a sudden, he reached out his hand and summoned the starlight to condense another bow. This time, he did not immediately draw the bowstring. Instead, he held the bow with one hand while forming hand seals with the other, performing an ancient and profound devil art. For a moment, devil chi billowed above the sea of clouds. Traces of devil runes condensed and were engraved on the body of the bow. Ku De and Ku Er's expressions immediately became extremely interesting. At first, they mocked Ning Fan. However, when they saw Ning Fan summon the stars and draw the bow, they nearly peed their pants. The destructive power of that arrow was indeed a little terrifying. Even if the two of them resist it with all their might, they would at most be severely injured even if they did not die. Just as the two of them were preparing to defend themselves with all their might, Ning Fan dispersed the devil bow and began to condense devil runes again. The two of them had no idea what those runes were. However, they inwardly speculated that Ning Fan might not have completed this magic technique yet. How dare you use an unfinished magic technique to bluff in front of us? You're courting death. The two of them no longer had any fear in their hearts. Each of them formed hand seals with their 10 fingers and displayed low-grade mortal void magic techniques to attack Ning Fan. 9 Heavens Divine Lightning Incomplete Technique. 5 Heavenly Lightning Blasting Top Technique. Layers of thunderclouds instantly condensed. Billions of golden lightning rays turned into thunderbolts and struck down with earth-shattering rumbling sounds. This was the joint attack of 2 Void Glimpse stage experts with their full strength. Even an ordinary Void Glimpse stage expert would have a hard time withstanding it. As for Ning Fan, who was still perfecting his magic technique, he would definitely die if he was struck by the lightning rays. Be careful. Lei Shi's eyes flashed with surprise. He wanted to help Ning Fan. It's all right. Without turning his head, Ning Fan suddenly took a step forward and stopped condensing the devil runes. There were already 99 devil runes on his black star bow. He had secretly learned these devil runes from Mo Luo's archery technique. However, condensing devil runes required the power of his natal stars. He only had 99 natal black stars. Thus, he could only condense 99 black runes. As for Mo Luo, since he could condense 1 million devil runes, he certainly had 1 million stars in his body. Mo Luo was also a ruthless person. However, Ning Fan would certainly surpass this ruthless person. Since the devil runes had been completed, Ning Fan drew his bow and drew an arrow. The destructive power of the arrow suddenly caused clusters of black sparks to appear in the sea of clouds within 10,000 li. These sparks were produced from the friction between the air and the sharp light of the star arrow and the magic power of the arrow. His black hair fluttered in the violent wind. His black eyes were as cold as the dark night. A wave of crazy aura force instantly swept across the sea of clouds. Facing the billions of lightning rays, Ning Fan did not even bother to summon the lightning diagram. He directly drew his bow and shot an arrow. He released the bowstring and the arrow flew out. It drew a perfect black line in the sky. Wherever it passed, it tore the sky into 2 halves and cut through the black blood. The destructive power of a single arrow made the sky bleed. A sharp cry that sounded like thousands of birds chirping at the same time broke through the sea of clouds and resounded across the sky. Chi within the sea of clouds, there seemed to be countless sounds of arrows echoing. However, a ray of flowing light cut through the universe. The lightning clouds that the 2 Void Glimpse stage cultivators displayed with all their might were pierced through by the arrow and shattered into pieces. The lightning rays that were shattered by the arrow continued to burn with black sparks. The invisible lightning rays were forcefully burned into ashes. Two mortal void realm magic techniques could not withstand the destructive power of a single arrow at all. When Kuda and Ku-Er witnessed this scene, their faces turned pale. The destructive power of this arrow was enough to burn the two of them into ashes. It was definitely not as simple as sustaining heavy injuries. The two of them were frightened. They wanted to escape in different directions. However, just as they split up, the arrow immediately split into two arrow shadows and chased after them. Damn it! The two of them did not expect that the arrow could be split into two. Moreover, after splitting, even though the destructive power of the arrow was reduced, it was still more than enough to kill a Void Glimpse stage cultivator. The two of them bit the tip of their tongues at the same time and pushed their speed to the maximum. Each of them turned into wisps of smoke and drifted away to a distance of 150,000 li. However, the arrow light also disappeared in a flash. When the two of them reappeared at a distance of 150,000 li away, two rays of arrow light suddenly shot out from the void and pierced into their dantian, ignoring all of their Void Glimpse stage defenses. Rumble, the moment they were hit by the arrow, the two of them did not even have the chance to scream. Their bodies were incinerated by the sparks. Within a breath's time, they turned into ashes and vanished. The two rays of arrow light returned with two traces of primordial lightning and were swallowed by Ning Fan. He did not disperse the star bow. Instead, he approached the young master in peach robes step by step. His eyes were filled with coldness as he took 9 consecutive steps. Each of the 9 steps was on the great momentum of heaven and earth. Each step he took forced the sword momentum to take form. However, at the last step, Ning Fan broke the momentum with a loud bang and released his sovereign chi, condensing his own sovereign momentum. The final point of the 9 heaven-treading steps was to step on the momentum of heaven and condense the sovereign momentum. You want to use me to claim credit? After the 9 steps, several swords of the great momentum suddenly swept across the sea of clouds. Among them, there was even a sword made of pure gold which was filled with unstoppable killing chi. Without giving the young master any chance to beg for mercy, it killed him with a single slash. Each of the old monsters of the Cloud Sea Lightning Palace sucked in a cold breath in disbelief. The destructive power of Ning Fan's single arrow could kill 2 Void Refinement Realm experts. When Ning Fan took 9 steps to form a sword, the sharpness of that sword was unstoppable. Sword of Sovereign Chi. Huang Yunzi's hand, which was about to save his foster son, stiffened. After letting out a sigh, he closed his eyes. Forget it. This unfilial son caused this trouble. He deserves to suffer the consequences of his actions. However, I didn't expect this Zhou Ming to actually be this strong. A single arrow from his devil bow can almost instantly kill anyone below the Void Inquiry stage. His sword of sovereign chi is even more powerful. Even if I go against it, I will have a 30% chance of dying. This young man might have other tricks up his sleeves. We must not provoke him. Ning Fan killed 3 people in a row but no one dared to stop him. Even Huang Yunzi had tacitly agreed to Ning Fan's actions. Who else would dare to step forward and stop him? Chu Nanfeng, Mo Feiyun and the others were so shocked that they could not close their mouths. Even though they knew that Ning Fan was strong, they did not know that he actually had such a powerful trump card which could kill a Void Glimpse stage cultivator with an arrow and a Void Inquiry stage cultivator with a sword. Huang Yunzi, give me an explanation. Ning Fan's eyes were cold. Originally, he did not want to cause trouble in the Cloud Sea. However, since the other party provoked him first, the result was different. If Huang Yunzi does not give him an explanation, he would flatten the lightning palace of the Cloud Sea today. I heard that fellow Daoist Zhou is collecting primordial lightning. I happen to have 10,000 traces of divine transformation realm primordial lightning in my hands. All of them were left behind by the divine transformation realm experts who died on the 12th floor in the past countless years. Huang Yunzi smiled bitterly and gave a compensation. It's not enough. The dark golden bamboo leaf and 1,000 silver jades are enough. Otherwise, the cloud sea will be destroyed. How dare you? As soon as Ning Fan's voice fell, several void glimpse stage-old monsters of the cloud sea immediately stepped forward and glared at Ning Fan, expressing their dissatisfaction towards his extortion. I won't repeat my words twice. Ning Fan's eyes were like cold lightning. His baleful chi was as sharp as a sword, piercing the sea of consciousness of those old monsters. They hurriedly retreated with great shock. What shocked them was Ning Fan's powerful aura force. With just his baleful chi, he could force void glimpse stage-old monsters to retreat. Shut up. Fellow Taoist Zhou's request is very reasonable. Bo Yuan, go get the dark golden bamboo leaf and 1,000 silver jades and give them to fellow Taoist Zhou. The old monster named Bo Yuan was one of the people who was forced to retreat by Ning Fan's aura force just now. His eyes were struggling as he did not know whether he should obey Ning Fan's order or not. Go now. Do you want my Cloud Sea Lightning Palace to be destroyed? Huang Yunzi roared. What? Bo Yuan's eyes widened in surprise. He did not expect Huang Yunzi, a void inquiry stage-old monster, to be so afraid of Ning Fan. Well, it was no wonder. Bo Yuan was just a void glimpse stage expert. He knew how powerful the star bow was, but he did not know how powerful the sovereign sword was. As for Huang Yunzi, he could sense the danger of death from the sovereign sword. How could he not be afraid of Ning Fan? Bo Yuan sighed. He did not dare to be negligent. Following Huang Yunzi's order, he fetched the items and passed them to Ning Fan. Ning Fan did not even look at the lightning jades and threw them all to Lei Shi. He only swallowed 10,000 traces of primordial lightning and kept the dark golden bamboo leaf. Then, he passed through the teleportation formation and entered the 13th floor. After this group of people left, Huang Yunzi heaved a sigh of relief. He looked at his foster son and two void glimpse stage experts who had died in the cloud sea with lingering fear. Bo Yuan, remember this. That Zhou Ming must not be provoked. He is 100 times more dangerous than King Yinglong. On the 13th floor, Lei Shi smiled wretchedly and looked at Ning Fan with admiration. Fellow Taoist Zhou is really bold. You even dared to extort money from that stingy Huang Yunzi. Well done. Why don't we continue extorting him to the 24th floor in one go? You have the bamboo leaves and primordial lightning while I have the lightning jades. Hee hee. We can get rich together. Why not? All right. Ning Fan nodded his head. Let's continue extorting then. What's wrong with being a little more domineering? After all, in this Black Lightning Tower, strength was everything. If others dislike him, they could just bring their men to kill him. As for the consequences, they would end up like Zhu Feng and the others. After refining 10,000 traces of primordial lightning, the lightning armor on Ning Fan's primordial spirit had already broken through to the 3rd level of the golden grade. Its defense became even more terrifying. It could even defend against a void pierce stage attack. As for void inquiry stage attacks, it could completely ignore them. This meant that no one in the first 24 floors, including King Yinglong, could hurt Ning Fan. However, Ning Fan discovered a sad fact. After his lightning armor broke through to the 3rd level, the amount of primordial lightning required to advance became even more terrifying. To advance from the 2nd level to the 3rd level, he only devoured around 10,000 traces of primordial lightning. However, to advance from the 3rd level to the 4th level, he would need at least 200,000 traces of primordial lightning. The greater the amount of primordial lightning required, the more it meant that the defense of the 4th level of the golden grade armor was far stronger than the 3rd level. This also meant that the attack power of an absolute void stage cultivator was more than 20 times stronger than a void pierce stage old monster. In the void refinement realm, the difference between each level of cultivation was like heaven and earth. It was because only by comprehending the word void could one be considered as a true expert. 1 hour later, the group arrived at the lightning palace of the 13th floor. What surprised Ning Fan was that the lightning lord of the 13th floor had already prepared the dark golden bamboo leaves, 10,000 traces of primordial lightning and 1,000 silver jades for him. The so-called lightning lord was a skinny old man. Usually, he was arrogant. However, he did not dare to be arrogant in front of Ning Fan at all at this moment. Hee. Fellow Taoist Zhou, please use the teleportation formation. If you have any requests, just tell me. As long as this old man can do it, I will certainly do my best. Even if I want you to deal with King Yinglong, is it still possible? Ning Fan gave Thunder Lord Xian Hai a meaningful look. Fellow Taoist, you must be joking. This old man is already old, and my magic strength is weak. I'm afraid I'm already not a match for Yinglong. However, this old man can gift fellow Taoist 10 illusory undead puppets, and it can be considered as doing my best for young brother in this battle. Oh. In that case, I must thank fellow Taoist Xian Hai for his generous gift. Since this person had given Ning Fan the combat strength of his spiritual puppets, Ning Fan of course would not reject them. All of them were handed over to Lei Shi to command. Just like that, he was safe and sound all the way up to the 22nd floor. Almost no one dared to provoke him anymore. Fellow Taoist Zhou, you have quite the reputation. Along the way, there was no one else, only people giving gifts. Lei Shi clicked his tongue in admiration. He had already collected more than 200 illusory undead puppets. Even though these undead puppets were not as strong as true void refinement realm beings, their combat power was still comparable to that of 20 void glimpse stage experts. Fame. They just want to use me. Using me to get rid of King Yinglong. From the looks of it, King Yinglong had made quite a number of enemies. Everyone pushes a wall when it's down. Luring the tiger to kill the wolf. They can actually think of such a thing. Aren't they afraid of raising a tiger like you to become the next King Yinglong? Lei Shi squinted his eyes and teased. Raising a tiger? Lei Shi, you're not the only one who is smart in this world. I'm afraid many people have already guessed my identity as a living person from the way I asked for primordial lightning. I'm a living person and it's impossible for me to stay in the Black Lightning Tower. As for you, if you only have your illusory spiritual puppets, you can only stay on the 11th floor at most. You won't go to the higher floors to compete with them. They will certainly be more than willing to use the two of us to get rid of King Yinglong. As he said that, Ning Fan no longer said anything else. The 22nd floor of the Taiyu Lightning Palace was already right in front of him. Unlike the previous floors, even though the Tower Lord of the 22nd floor had also prepared a generous gift for Ning Fan, his face was pale and his attitude was rather cold. The Lightning Lord of the 22nd floor was Lightning Lord Taiyu. He was a void inquiry stage expert at the second level of the Golden Body Realm. He was nearly invincible among cultivators at the same level as him, but he was still slightly weaker than King Yinglong. He hoped to use Ning Fan's hands to kill Yinglong. However, he had his own pride. It was impossible for him to bow down to Ning Fan. Moreover, this man who resembled a black tower still did not believe that Ning Fan, who was just a half-step void refinement realm cultivator, could threaten the life of a void inquiry stage expert with his sovereign sword. I am Taiyu. I've been waiting for you for a long time. The gifts are here and the teleportation formation is also here. Little friend, feel free to use them. However, there's a prerequisite if you want to leave safely. What prerequisite? Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. He could feel a strong battle intent from Taiyu's body. Take a punch from me. If you don't die, I will let you go to the 23rd floor. Otherwise, you won't be qualified to fighting long at all. Tai Yu took a step forward. With a tremendous force, the mountains and rivers within 100,000 li collapsed. This man's body refinement realm is really strong. Chapter 430. Ning Fan gently took a deep breath. Lightning Lord Tai Yu's body refinement realm was at the second level of the golden body refining realm, which was enough to make his breath stagnate. Even with his body refinement realm at the peak of the jade life realm, in addition to the limit of strength of his corpse devil body, he was still slightly inferior to Tai Yu. The black tower-like man was glowing with a pure golden light. His body seemed to have become a golden man, and it was engraved with patterns of the great Tao. He stood there like an insurmountable mountain. Even Lei Shi would not be able to withstand his punch and would definitely be severely injured. As for Chu Nanfeng and the others, they were forced to retreat dozens of steps before they could stabilize themselves. They were completely unable to resist Tai Yu's domineering aura. Not only is this man a golden body cultivator, but he has also reached the second level of the golden body realm. This man is very strong. This person's blood qi carried a hint of gold, which made me faintly understand. The Tao of body refinement starts with the 10th layer of silver light, followed by the silver bone, tempering the bones, followed by the jade life, tempering the life soul, and finally the golden body, tempering the blood qi. Blood qi, huh? Ning Fan muttered to himself. His eyes showed no signs of fear as he took a step forward. Every strand of lightning Lord Tai Yu's aura was enough to suppress mountains and rivers and lock the vast sky. However, as Ning Fan made a grabbing motion with his 5 fingers, pieces of the golden body's aura force shattered like glass. A cracking sound was heard as the golden body was broken. Alright, I'll take your punch. If I am not injured, I want a drop of your golden body blood. Golden body blood? Sure. That is, if you can survive my punch. Seeing that Ning Fan had broken his aura force and even accepted his challenge, Tai Yu's eyes flashed with a hint of approval. He stared deeply at Ning Fan. He could tell that Ning Fan's true body refinement realm was at the peak jade life realm. He was still far from attaining the golden body realm. However, with his strange corpse devil physique, he could put up a fight against a true expert at the first level of the golden body realm. The reason why Ning Fan asked for Tai Yu's blood was because he wanted to comprehend the difference between the golden body realm and the jade life realm. It was just a drop of blood. If Ning Fan's strength could satisfy him, why not give him a drop of blood to help him comprehend the golden body refining realm? Take this. Tai Yu took a step forward, and his aura reached its peak at this moment. It was as sharp as a sword, and it caused countless dead spirits to retreat in a hurry. Regardless of friend or foe, the battlefield was emptied. Countless mountain peaks were suppressed by his imposing aura, and they seemed to have been hacked by an axe. Enormous ridges collapsed, rivers stopped flowing, and everything seemed to have been flattened by an immortal hammer. A trace of scarlet fierceness rose in Tai Yu's eyes. His body seemed to be made of gold as his essence covered the sky. As soon as the fist light moved, it immediately produced an earth-shattering sound of collapse. A beam of pure golden fist light streaked across the sky, shattering layers of clouds. The void was crushed at this moment, and the ground began to collapse as if there was an earthquake. That ray of fist light approached him from afar. In just the blink of an eye, Ning Fan took a step forward and his eyes were filled with monstrous battle intent. This punch was very powerful. It was enough to suppress Lei Shi with one punch. So this is the strength of an existence that is almost unrivaled among Void Inquiry stage experts in the Heavenly Lightning Tower. Lightning armor, appear. All of a sudden, a lightning armor with golden lightning patterns appeared around Ning Fan's body. His white robes and golden armor made him look like a heavenly general. The moment the lightning armor covered his body, his physical defense immediately increased to a terrifying level. The third level golden armor could withstand a void pierce stage attack. He had already obtained 100,000 traces of primordial lightning for no reason along the way to the 22nd level. He was already halfway to the 4th level golden armor. With this level of defense, he could even ignore the attacks of ordinary Void Pierce stage old monsters. The attacks of Void Inquiry stage old monsters could not break this defense at all. The fist light that was enough to suppress Lei Shi blasted on the lightning armor, producing a terrifying explosion that sounded like the end of the world. Wind and lightning were blown away. The ground was swept away by the fist light, turning it into a decaying and desolate place. However, Ning Fan, who was standing at the center of the fist light, was not injured at all. He was in an invincible state. His defensive power had already reached a terrifying level under the nourishment of countless traces of primordial lightning. After a long time, the fist light dissipated. Ning Fan dispersed his lightning armor and said indifferently, "I have already withstood your fist light. It's time for you to fulfill your promise." Even Tai Yu could not help but gasp in astonishment. As for the other experts, all of them wore astonished expressions. All of them could see how powerful Tai Yu's punch was. It was enough to instantly kill any Void Glimpse stage expert and suppress a Void Inquiry stage expert who was at the same level as Lei Shi. Ning Fan had actually withstood such a powerful fist light with his lightning armor. Anyone with a discerning eye could tell that this lightning armor was not a magic treasure. Instead, it was a type of magic technique. It was a magic technique that allowed him to condense primordial lightning to form an invincible lightning armor. They finally understood why Ning Fan had been collecting primordial lightning everywhere. It must be because of this mysterious secret technique. A deep sense of frustration rose in Lightning Lord Tai Yu's heart. He closed his eyes and remained silent. He had used all of his strength in this punch. He did not use any body technique. However, judging from this attack, even if he uses a powerful body technique, he would not be able to break the defense of the lightning armor. The defense of this lightning armor was already heaven-defying. Even a Void Pierce stage expert would find it difficult to withstand it. "You can go up to the 23rd floor." Tai Yu opened his eyes. His eyes were filled with reluctance and dejection. He used his finger like a sword and pierced it across his arm, keeping a drop of golden blood into a jade bottle. Then, he gave Ning Fan all the gifts he had prepared earlier. The blood of the golden body refining realm only flowed in the tiny blood vessels on the skin. With Tai Yu's current body refinement realm, he had only condensed 500 drops of golden blood. Ning Fan nodded his head. Even though Tai Yu was overbearing, he was still a person who was willing to admit defeat. He kept the gifts and swallowed the primordial lightning. Then, he glanced at the golden blood in the jade bottle indifferently. Without saying anything else, he stepped into the teleportation formation of the 23rd floor. "Fellow Taoist Zhou, you have broadened my horizons again. The defense of that primordial lightning armor is really heaven-defying. Tai Yu cannot break it and Ing Long probably won't be able to do so as well. I'm afraid fellow Taoist is already invincible in the battle against Ing Long. I'm just invincible. Ing Long can't hurt me, but I might not be able to hurt him either. For example, I can defend against Lightning Lord Tai Yu's attacks, but I might not be able to hurt him. Even if I use my killing sword with sovereign chi, I might not be able to break the defense of his physical body. At the end of the day, I'm still limited by my cultivation realm. If I want to eliminate Tai Yu, perhaps I can only use the third finger." "What third finger?" Lei Shi asked doubtfully. "Nothing. This is the last floor of the Lightning Palace. The next floor is where Ing Long is." Ning Fan and the others stopped in their tracks. In front of them, they could vaguely see a heavily guarded undead spirit expert. As soon as they saw Ning Fan and the others, they immediately shouted. "Stop right there. Lightning Lord Mo Lei has given an order. If fellow Taoist Zhou wishes to use the teleportation formation, you need to answer a question of the Lightning Lord. No matter if the Lightning Lord is satisfied with your answer, as long as you answer, you can pass through the teleportation formation. As soon as he finished speaking, thousands of divine transformation realm cultivators wearing armors and holding halberds rushed towards them and surrounded Ning Fan and the others. The ones who took the lead were 20 Void Glimpse stage experts and 1 Void Inquiry stage expert. The one who spoke was none other than Void Inquiry stage expert of the Lightning Palace. Even though he had Void Inquiry stage cultivation base, he was not Lightning Lord Mo Lei but the great commander of the Lightning Palace. Answer a question. Don't tell me you want to fight me in a different way. Lei Shi revealed his yellow teeth and smiled wretchedly. However, his eyes were filled with battle intent. Ning Fan did not express his opinion. He just glanced at the cultivators who were surrounding him and waved his hand to stop Lei Shi, who was eager to fight. What question do you want me to answer? Ning Fan asked the Great Elder. Someone, bring the Lightning Lord's warrant, gifts, brush and ink. The great commander's eyes flashed with a solemn expression. He then ordered his men to bring countless items over. There were dark golden bamboo leaves, primordial lightning, silver grade and gold grade lightning jades. All of them were naturally gifts. Apart from that, there was also someone who knelt in front of Ning Fan with a wooden tray which was filled with brush, ink, paper and ink stone. Apart from that, there was also a warrant written on the paper. There was only one word on it, lightning. What kind of bullshit question is that? Lei Shi curled his lips. Although he looked frivolous, his eyes were filled with a hint of seriousness as if he had seen through something. I'm sorry. The Lightning Lord is currently in seclusion. He only said that he wanted to ask fellow Taoist Zhou a question and left this word behind. He did not specify what he wanted to ask fellow Taoist Zhou specifically. The great commander said apologetically. It's all right. I understand what he means. The purple star in Ning Fan's left eye shone faintly. His eyesight could almost see through all the traces of magic power in the word lightning. Every stroke of this thunder character contained dermic powers. Every stroke contained the Lightning Lord Mo Lei's lightning Tao. However, the words that were drawn by the lightning power were not smooth and smooth. There was a hint of sluggishness between the lines and it could not be completed. The reason why the lightning power could not be perfected was because Mo Lei had yet to advance to the Void Pierce stage. He was still a Void Inquiry stage cultivator. This word was a question. Mo Lei wanted to ask Ning Fan how he could break through the shackles of the Tao of Lightning and reach the bottleneck of the Void Pierce stage. Interesting. Ning Fan did not write down any words. He just picked up the paper with the word lightning and tore it into pieces. How dare you? The great commander's eyes flashed with anger. He thought that Ning Fan was too arrogant. Lightning Lord Mo Lei had prepared a generous gift to send Ning Fan to the 24th floor. All he wanted was to ask Ning Fan a question. Moreover, he would let Ning Fan go regardless of whether the answer was satisfactory or not. His request was not excessive. However, Ning Fan ignored Mo Lei's request and tore the warrant into pieces in public. It was undoubtedly a slap to his face. A warrior would rather be killed than humiliated. Even though the great commander knew how strong Ning Fan was, he still wanted to fight him. At this moment, a sigh of enlightenment suddenly resounded from the Lightning Palace in the distance. His indifferent voice was like a ray of lightning that cut across the vast sky. Gong Bo, stop. I'm very satisfied with little friend's answer. He's right. The one who spoke was none other than Lightning Lord Mo Lei. As soon as his voice fell, he turned into an elderly man with the demeanor of an immortal. His eyes were filled with emotion. Little friend's Tao comprehension is indeed extraordinary. Your future will certainly be limitless. The elderly man cupped his fists and expressed his gratitude. I also feel gratified to be able to help you. Ning Fan cupped his fists and returned the greeting. What he said made countless experts feel puzzled. Why didn't the Lightning Lord get angry when this young man tore the warrant of the Lightning Lord but thanked him instead? What kind of answer did this young man actually give to the Lightning Lord? The great commander was puzzled. Similarly, countless experts were also puzzled. Among the experts present, only the wretched Lei Shi seemed to have understood something. Lei Shi could vaguely see through the true meaning of Mo Lei's question. He was asking about how to comprehend the Tao of lightning and attain the void-pierced stage. However, Lei Shi could not understand Ning Fan's answer. What does he mean by tearing the paper into pieces? Ning Fan and Mo Lei were talking in riddles. Only the two of them knew the answer. After that, under Mo Lei's order, all of the experts sent Ning Fan and the others to the teleportation formation respectfully. However, before they left, Ning Fan suddenly smiled meaningfully at a certain direction and muttered to himself. Interesting. Are we going to have 2 more helpers on this trip? After everyone left, the great commander asked suspiciously. May I ask, what question did you ask fellow Taoist Zhou, Lightning Lord? What was his answer? I asked him how to break through to the void-pierced stage. In front of his subordinates, Mo Lei spoke bluntly without any shame. What? The Lightning Lord is a dignified void inquiry stage expert. Moreover, he is almost invincible among void inquiry stage experts. Why would he ask a junior who has not even attained the void refinement realm for such a question? He is just a divine transformation realm expert. How would he know how to break through to the void-pierced stage? The great commander became even more puzzled. Even though this young man's cultivation base is at the divine transformation realm, his understanding of the void has already broken through to the void inquiry stage. With your Tao comprehension, you won't be able to see it. Besides, what I'm especially concerned about is his understanding of the Tao of lightning. The biggest problem I face when I break through to the void-pierced stage is not the understanding of the void but the understanding of the Tao of lightning. This old man's Tao of thunder has always been incomplete. I heard that this young man has cultivated the secret technique of Lightning Emperor Taisu. Therefore, I probed him and didn't have much hope. However, this young man's answer really surprised me. After cultivating the Tao of thunder for 10,000 years, this old man has finally seen the light today. That fellow Taoist Zhou merely tore off the Lightning Lord's token. How did he answer my question? This is the best answer. I asked the question by writing on the paper. The word lightning is all of my Tao of lightning. As for the paper, it is the heavenly Tao. My lightning lies within the heavenly Tao. However, under the heavenly Tao, I'm just an undead spirit. No matter how hard I study the Tao of lightning, there will always be a trace of flaw in my understanding of the Tao of lightning. I will never be able to compare to a living person. This is the will of the heavenly Tao. It cannot be resisted. In fact, this flaw cannot be made up for unless I reincarnate and cultivate again. I know all of this very well. Therefore, no matter what fellow Taoist Zhou wrote on the paper, it is trapped within the heavenly Tao and can't help me. That's why he tore off the paper, tore off my Tao of lightning and tore off the heavenly Tao. This. The commander seemed to have understood something but was also puzzled at the same time. He only felt that the principle behind this small action of tearing off the paper was too deviant. His answer is only one. If the Tao obstructs me, I will abandon the Tao. If the heaven obstructs me, I will tear the heaven apart. This was his answer. I have cultivated lightning for 10,000 years. Today, I finally had an epiphany. I was too obsessed with my identity as an undead spirit, too obsessed with lightning and too obsessed with the heaven. All these attachments should be abandoned. The only thing that needs to be firm is the determination to break through to the void-pierced stage. As soon as Mo Lei finished speaking, a vast aura force gradually rose. He was not far away from breaking through to the void-pierced stage. Men, prepare for battle. We are going to battle now and attacking long. Mo Lei suddenly gave an order, shocking countless experts. What? Could it be that the Lightning Lord is attacking Ying Long to help Zhou Ming? The commander said in surprise. That's right. This young man has solved my doubts. I will return him a favor. Then why didn't the Lightning Lord go with him directly? If I go with him, I will be like Lei Shi, kneeling before him. Even though I can help him, I am not his subordinate. I have my own pride. Are you the same as well? Tai Yu. As soon as Mo Lei finished speaking, his eyes suddenly turned cold and he looked at the hidden void space at the side. Immediately, a burly man with a black pagoda appeared in that hidden place. He laughed heartily. He was Lightning Lord Tai Yu. Ha! Old Mo's eyes are really sharp. You actually noticed that I am hiding here. I'm not the only one with sharp eyes. That fellow Daoist Zhou probably noticed it too. The words he said before he left were probably referring to us. Mo Lei sighed. He really could not figure out why Ning Fan's Dao comprehension and wisdom were so monstrous even though his bone age was only 500 years old. He could even tell that the two of them wanted to help him. Most likely, he also understood that the reason why they did not help him was because they could not put down their pride and were afraid that others would say that they were his subordinates. After all, not every old monster could be as shameless as Lei Shi, who was not afraid of being criticized by others. The reason why I helped him is to return the favor. But why are you helping him? If you harbor evil intentions, don't blame me for being merciless and attacking you. Mo Lei questioned coldly. Attack me? Haha. Old Mo, I can't defeat you and you can't defeat me either. I'm willing to help him and I also want to kill Ying Long for fun. This is the reason why I'm attacking him. It's up to you whether you believe it or not. Haha. I'm going now. Tai Yu laughed heartily and entered the teleportation formation by himself. Mo Lei's eyes revealed a strange expression. He sighed and shook his head. Then, he also led his men into the teleportation formation. After so many years, he still could not understand Tai Yu. This man was too casual. If he wanted to challenge you, he would even dare to fight against the Heavenly King. If he wanted to help you, he did not have a proper reason. However, what Mo Lei could predict was that with Ning Fan's strength and Tai Yu's help, he would not lose in the bloody battle on the 24th floor. I wonder if that Ying Long is already restless at this moment. Mo Lei said indifferently as if he did not care about Ying Long's life or death. Ying Long's lightning palace on the 24th floor. In a deep swamp, a winged yellow dragon's eyes were filled with rage after hearing the reports. His dragon roar shattered the vast sky. Impossible. How could this young man break through the defense of the 23rd floor of the Lightning Tower and come to my 24th floor in such a short time? This is absolutely impossible. Before his anger subsided, several message-transmitting flying swords flew towards him in a panic. Each of them was begging for mercy. Dragon King, save us. The water pass is in an emergency. The water pass has been breached. Iron Dragon City is surrounded. Dragon King, please lend us a hand. Li Mountain has been razed to the ground, Divine Cloud Valley has been breached. Each of the message-transmitting flying swords carried the grievous news of being slaughtered and annihilated. King Ying Long became even more furious. In the past, he was the one who chased after others. Since when did the people he chased after dare to be so arrogant as to kill his subordinates in his territory? Guards! I want to attack personally and kill this young man on the 24th floor. The yellow dragon flapped his wings and flew into the sky. With a flash of yellow light, he turned into a burly man in yellow robes. His face was as dark as iron. However, before he could attack personally, another black flying sword flew towards him and exploded in the dragon pool. A cold voice was heard. It was not the report of his subordinates but Ning Fan's voice. Ying Long Zi, your time of death has come. Arrogant brat. King Ying Long was enraged. He could not tolerate being provoked by a divine transformation realm junior like this. Just as he was enraged, earth-shattering sounds of battle could be heard from outside the dragon pool. Ning Fan is here. Chapter 431. A million miles away from Yinglong Lightning Palace, the desolate dragon lake had already turned into a sea of blood. Lei Shi led the group of cultivators from the myriad treasure pavilion and 200 illusory puppets. They were unstoppable as they fought their way through the battlefield. Holding the separation slayer in his hand, he walked through the pool of blood and swung his sword to kill his enemies. No one could withstand the might of his sword. In just 2 hours, countless forces that were attached to King Yinglong on the 24 floors of the Lightning Tower were wiped out by Ning Fan like the autumn wind sweeping away the fallen leaves. He didn't want to stir up trouble, but he wasn't afraid of it. If Yinglong wanted to hunt him down, he would have to pay the price. "Zhou Ming, how dare you!" More than 20 furious roars came from afar. Their traveling lights carried a vast aura force that could shake heaven and earth. Without a doubt, they were Void Refinement Realm old monsters. Ning Fan's eyes turned cold. He did not expect King Yinglong to have so many subordinates. 19 Void Glimpse stage experts and 3 Void Inquiry stage experts were his subordinates. Moreover, among the 3 Void Inquiry stage experts, other than one who was on par with Lei Shi, the strength of the other 2 was far above him. This brat dares to offend King Yinglong. Let's quickly suppress him. One of the Void Glimpse stage cultivators who spoke arrogantly bore the brunt of the attack and directly rushed towards Ning Fan. The speed of his traveling light was too fast, almost reaching the Void Inquiry stage. Relying on his astonishing speed, he did not put Ning Fan in his eyes at all and was prepared to finish him off with a single move. Due to his underestimation of the enemy, he did not expect to enter Ning Fan's formation diagram. Lightning flashed in Ning Fan's eyes. He had already noticed that this person had the intention to launch a sneak attack on him. Moreover, it was filled with killing intent. At the moment when this person was 10,000 zhang away from him, Ning Fan directly flipped his hand and flicked it. All of a sudden, lightning flashed in the sky and condensed into a scroll. Ning Fan raised his hand and flicked it, revealing a lightning painting scroll that depicted 10,000 li of rivers and mountains. The lightning runes and the blood-stained mountains and rivers appeared one by one in the painting. The sun, moon, and stars, as well as the momentum of the universe, all seemed to be secretly in sync with the lightning diagram. In the past, the lightning diagram only had ancient and profound runes. However, as it killed the Void Refinement Realm cultivators, devoured the 10 lightning dragons and devoured countless primordial lightning along the way, its grade had greatly improved. The painting of the blood-stained mountains and rivers gradually became clearer, revealing the patterns on the surface of the mountains and rivers. Its power increased greatly. Even if Ning Fan does not injure lightning cultivators of the Void Glimpse stage, he could still kill them directly. He was invincible among lightning cultivators of the same level as him. His ability to turn lightning into a diagram with a flip of his hand had exceeded too many people's expectations, especially the Void Glimpse stage expert who launched a sneak attack. He felt a chill run down his spine as he realized that the situation was not good for him. Without any hesitation, he tried to flee. However, it was already too late. Return. He shook the lightning diagram and kept this Void Glimpse stage expert into it along with the 10,000 li of the mountains and rivers. With just a shake, the mountains and rivers within 10,000 li turned into ashes. That Void Glimpse stage cultivator let out a miserable shriek and also turned into ashes. There was no way for him to escape at all. This lightning diagram is so terrifying. Is this the legendary Tai Su lightning diagram? Legend has it that after Lightning Emperor Tai Su, no one has been able to comprehend this technique. For this child to be able to comprehend it, his aptitude is too heaven-defying. This person is not someone we can fight against. Only the Dragon King can take him down. Each of the arrogant Void Glimpse stage-old monsters felt fear in their hearts. None of them dared to attack Ning Fan anymore. Only the 3 Void Inquiry stage-old monsters let out a cold harumph. Even though this lightning diagram is powerful, this child's cultivation level is obviously not high enough. It can only kill Void Glimpse stage lightning cultivators. He can't take away us Void Inquiry stage experts. Qi Ji, you go and deal with Lei Shi. Dao Li, you and this old man will kill this child together. Don't give him a chance to kill the other Void Glimpse stage experts. The Void Inquiry stage expert who spoke was the strongest among the 3 of them. His name was Cheng Huang. Among the 3 of them, Cheng Huang was the strongest. Dao Li was second while Qi Ji was the weakest. With Qi Ji dealing with Lei Shi and the other 2 attacking Ning Fan together, it was enough to show how much importance Cheng Huang placed on Ning Fan. He could tell how powerful the Tai Su lightning diagram was. With this diagram, Ning Fan could totally rely on this precious diagram to instantly kill ordinary lightning element undead spirits. In the past, he did not believe that Ning Fan had the ability to fight against a Void Inquiry stage expert. Today, however, he believed it. When the remaining 18 Void Glimpse stage experts saw that they did not need to fight against Ning Fan, they heaved a sigh of relief and fought against the cultivators of the Myriad Treasure Pavilion. Qi Ji blocked Lei Shi, not giving him any chance to help Ning Fan. Despite facing 2 Void Inquiry stage experts alone, Ning Fan did not show the slightest bit of fear. As for Cheng Huang and Dao Li, they did not give Ning Fan any time to think either. They immediately launched their most violent attacks by summoning their mid-grade mortal void treasures. Profound Void Lightning Sword. Violet Lightning Clear Frost. Both of their treasures were peerless treasures. Although they weren't immemorial mystical weapons, they were still rare treasures of the same level. Such a supreme treasure was enough to make them rarely have a match among the Void Inquiry stage experts. Unless their opponents were experts like Ying Long or Tai Yu, they would definitely not lose. 2 rays of terrifying sword light shot out, as if they were going to tear apart the Milky Way and mince Ning Fan into millions of pieces. Ning Fan couldn't avoid it, but he didn't plan to. He took a step forward and a suit of golden armor appeared on his white robe. So what if it's a mid-grade mortal void treasure? Boom! 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 The 2 magic treasures carried a force that could overturn mountains and overturn seas. When they landed on Ning Fan's body, a deafening explosion resounded, causing each of the experts of the Lightning Palace to tremble with fear. It was as if the end of the world had arrived. Mountains and rivers shattered, the earth split open, and magma rose. On the great wilderness, large areas of land were turned into ruins. No matter how the world was turned upside down, Ning Fan stood proudly without a single scratch on his body. His golden armor had withstood millions of attacks from the 2 treasures but not a single scratch was left on it. Hiss! What kind of armor secret technique is this? Its defense is actually so heaven-defying. Not good. This young man is going to counterattack. Ning Fan's black hair fluttered in the wind and lightning but his eyes remained calm. He pointed a finger at the sky. 99 black stars suddenly appeared in the sky. Black starlight that was like a veil fell from the sky and landed on Ning Fan's white robe and golden armor. It glistened brightly and added a strange aura to him. He clenched his 5 fingers and the starlight condensed into a black bow which was covered with 99 devil runes. The way he held the bow was completely different from the way the Great Elder of 6 Wings held the bow. At this moment, the way he held the bow was just like Great Emperor Mo Luo. As for the natal black stars, the current Ning Fan was definitely a few times stronger than Mo Luo who was at the same level as him. The lightning diagram dispersed and returned to Ning Fan's feet, expanding to 100,000 li. With Ning Fan's current magic power, it was only enough to shoot a single arrow. However, the lightning diagram had another advantage. It could store the magic power of lightning cultivators that it devoured and turn it into his own. That lightning diagram contained the vast magic power of 10 void inquiry stage lightning dragons. With the help of the lightning diagram, Ning Fan did not have to worry about having insufficient magic power before he uses up the magic power of the lightning dragons. In the past, the reason why Ning Fan did not use the magic power that he had stored was because he was waiting for today's battle to the death with King Yinglong. Die. Ning Fan's word was cold like the ice of the 9 nether realms. That arrow seemed to have pierced through heaven and earth. Sparks burned and the shadow of the arrow tore through the sky. Cheng Huang and Dao Li, who were targeted by Ning Fan's arrow, turned pale. Be careful and defend yourself. The destructive force of this arrow is extremely strong. If we are careless, even we might be severely injured by it. The two of them raised their magic treasures and attacked the shadow of the arrow. The 2 mid-grade mortal void magic treasures which had the power to destroy heaven and earth were repelled by a single arrow. Boom! The massive shockwave from the collision caused cracks to form all over the 2 magic treasures, greatly reducing their spiritual power. Both Cheng Huang and Dao Li felt their scalps go numb. Both of them were not body cultivators. If that arrow hits them, they would certainly be severely injured. What kind of archery technique is this? Why is it so powerful? Even mid-grade mortal void magic treasures can't withstand this arrow. Unless one's physical body has reached the 2nd level of the golden body refining realm, who else can withstand this arrow? However, powerful techniques will certainly consume magic power. Even though this young man destroyed our magic treasures, he used up all of his magic power at the beginning of the battle. He's really foolish. The 2 of them only knew that Ning Fan's magic power had been depleted and the wariness in their hearts was gone. They smiled coldly and performed a lightning technique with their fingers, closing in on Ning Fan. However, when they were halfway through their battle, they were suddenly startled. They saw Ning Fan looking at them with a mocking expression. Ning Fan raised his hand and drew his bow again. Another arrow shadow that could destroy heaven and earth was shot by Ning Fan. The sharp sound of the arrow almost pierced their eardrums and sea of consciousness. The arrow flew towards them with an unstoppable force, causing the 2 of them to tremble with fear. They could not understand why Ning Fan could shoot 2 arrows consecutively when he was just a half-step void refinement realm cultivator with limited magic power. Even with their magic power, they could probably only shoot 2 to 3 arrows. The destructive power of this magic technique was too strong and it consumed too much of their magic power. Could it be that Ning Fan's magic power is already comparable to a void inquiry stage expert? But how is that possible? The 2 of them were puzzled and no one could help them either. Half of their magic treasures were already destroyed and they could no longer use them. All they could do was to summon their protective armors and forcefully block that arrow light. Unfortunately, their protective armors were not Ning Fan's lightning armor. Its defense was too weak. Ning Fan's arrow pierced through both of their bodies. The remaining arrow shadows left them with serious injuries and directly bombarded their physical bodies. Cough cough cough. Cheng Huang and Dao Li coughed out a few mouthfuls of blood. Luckily, they had their protective armors so their injuries were not serious. Both of their eyes turned gloomy. They were dignified void inquiry stage old monsters but they were humiliated by Ning Fan with just 2 arrows. If they don't get back at him, how would they be able to calm their anger? They pondered inwardly. Even though Ning Fan's magic power was comparable to a void inquiry stage expert, his magic power would certainly be depleted after shooting 2 arrows and he would not be able to shoot the 3rd arrow. However, they were wrong again. This time, Ning Fan did not wait for them to attack Ning Fan. He drew his bow again and shot the 3rd arrow, the 4th arrow and the 5th arrow. Oh my god! This Zhou Ming can actually shoot 3 arrows consecutively with such terrifying archery skills. Another round of exclamations filled the air. Their voices were filled with respect. The magic power in Ning Fan's body was depleting at an extremely fast speed. However, the lightning power in the lightning diagram was rapidly replenishing his magic power. The Tai Su lightning diagram could be used to kill lightning cultivators at the same level as him. It could also be used to defend against lightning techniques of the same level. At the same time, it could also be used as a container to store lightning power. It was truly a supreme secret technique. No wonder this technique could be considered as one of the strongest abilities of Lightning Emperor Tai Su. It really lived up to its reputation. The lightning diagram contained all the magic power of 10 Void Inquiry Stage lightning dragons. Ning Fan reckoned that after shooting 5 arrows, he could at least shoot another 25 arrows. The 3 arrows that were shot consecutively gave Cheng Huang and Dao Li a great sense of danger. They could not resist it. The only thing they could do was to run. The two of them no longer had the courage to fight against Ning Fan. They really did not know how many more arrows Ning Fan could shoot. If Ning Fan shoots 5 or 7 arrows consecutively, they might even face the danger of dying. Unfortunately, even though they were fast at escaping, how could they be faster than the star arrows? Usually, the power of an archery technique could only be used once. If the attack fails, it would be considered a failure. With such a huge disadvantage, the destructive power of an archery technique was naturally slightly stronger than other magic techniques. Not only did it have a longer range, but it was also extremely fast. Its destructive power was also extraordinary. The speed of the 3 arrows was comparable to the speed of a Void Inquiry Stage expert. 2 of them went after Cheng Huang while the last one went after Dao Li. Chi! 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 The sound of 3 star arrows piercing through bodies resounded. Both Cheng Huang and Dao Li were hit by the arrows. They fell from the sky like wild geese that were shot down by a hunter and crashed heavily on the ground. Star devil flames ignited within their bodies. Their primordial spirits were burning and they were in excruciating pain. Dao Li was slightly better. He was only hit by 1 arrow. Even though he was injured, he could still stand up forcefully. His injuries were certainly not serious. He forcefully extinguished the star devil flames on his body and looked at Ning Fan with eyes filled with intense fear. Cheng Huang, on the other hand, was in a miserable state. His entire body was burned by the devil flames. With his weak magic power, it was difficult for him to extinguish the devil flames. After one of his arms was burned, he could only barely suppress the devil flames. His injuries were definitely not light. His chi was extremely weak and his cultivation base had almost dropped to the Void Inquiry stage. I still have 25 arrows. Ning Fan's indifferent words were like a sudden clap of thunder, making the two of them feel numb. Ning Fan still had 25 arrows left despite having such a powerful archery technique. They could not withstand it. If they tried to resist it head-on, they would certainly die. They were afraid. They fled to other battlefields, no longer daring to confront Ning Fan head-on. They could only wait for King Yinglong to arrive and finish him off. Without the two of them blocking his path, Ning Fan was like entering an uninhabited land. He did not go after them. After all, they were Void Inquiry Stage old monsters. Even if Ning Fan releases all of his star arrows and exhausts all of his magic power, he might not be able to kill them. Since he could not kill them, he might as well kill some old monsters that he could. Before King Yinglong arrives, he would kill as many Void Glimpse stage experts as possible. He drew his bow and aimed at a Void Glimpse stage expert. Then, he released an arrow. The shadow of a starlight arrow was like the suppression of the great Tao. Its momentum was overwhelming and unstoppable. When a Void Glimpse stage expert was caught off guard, Ning Fan shot an arrow and assassinated him. Star flames burned his body, turning him into ashes in an instant. Another Void Glimpse stage expert had fallen. This time, everyone's gaze fell upon Ning Fan. Only then did everyone notice that the two Void Inquiry stage experts who were fighting against Ning Fan had actually gained the upper hand and forced the other two Void Glimpse stage experts to retreat. At the same time, he drew his bow and shot the remaining Void Glimpse stage experts. As Ning Fan's killing intent rose, the remaining 17 Void Glimpse stage experts felt a sense of danger. Not good. Someone, come and stop this man. Each of the Void Glimpse stage old monsters knew how powerful Ning Fan's archery technique was. How could they have the courage to fight against him? They summoned groups of nascent soul realm and divine transformation realm undead spirits. However, even though there were tens of thousands of undead spirits gathered in one place, none of them could withstand the destructive power of a single arrow from Ning Fan. With a single arrow, hundreds of thousands of nascent soul realm experts lost their lives. Blood flowed like a river. Countless divine transformation realm experts perished. The land seemed to have returned to the desolate antiquity. It was covered in star flames and not a single blade of grass grew. As for Ning Fan, he would definitely kill a Void Glimpse stage old monster every time he drew his bow. The destructive power of the star-punishing bow was too domineering. In addition to the endless magic power provided by the lightning diagram, the current Ning Fan was almost invincible among Void Glimpse stage experts. No expert below the Void Inquiry stage could withstand a single arrow from him. Chi. In just the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, Ning Fan had shot 20 arrows consecutively and killed 18 Void Glimpse stage experts. Most of the nascent soul realm and divine transformation realm experts were killed. Only less than 10,000 of them were still alive. Ning Fan had kept the strongest technique of the lightning diagram for this battle. He began his massacre like an unparalleled devil god. Qi Ji had already been severely injured by Lei Shi and the others. Cheng Huang and Dao Li's injuries had also worsened after being besieged by a group of experts. Ning Fan still had 5 more arrows. He drew his bow like a full moon and shot out 5-star arrows in succession. It was a secret archery technique that he inherited from Great Emperor Wangu. When the 5 arrows merged into one, Cheng Huang was horrified. His current injuries were too severe and his magic power was almost depleted. He did not have the strength to resist the star arrows at all. He wanted to run away but he could not do so in time at all. The 5 arrows pierced through his chest. His body was engulfed in raging devil flames. After letting out a blood-curdling scream, he finally died. This Zhou Ming can even kill a Void Inquiry stage old monster. He definitely has the strength to go against King Yinglong. Voices of shock and fear resounded throughout the area, causing the morale of Yinglong's lightning palace to plummet again and again. Lei Shi and the other cultivators of the Myriad Treasure Pavilion had long become numb to Ning Fan's killings. He killed 18 Void Glimpse stage experts by himself, killed one with his lightning diagram and killed a Void Inquiry stage expert with his bow. Ning Fan's achievements today were enough to shake the 100 floors of the lightning tower. Since Cheng Huang was already dead, Ning Fan dispersed the lightning diagram beneath his feet and used up all the magic power of the 10 lightning dragons. His cold gaze swept across Dao Li and Qi Ji. When these two old monsters thought of Cheng Huang's fate, they shuddered with fear and nearly forgot the fact that they belonged to Yinglong's lightning palace. They abandoned King Yinglong and wanted to escape by themselves. Where do you think you're going? This time, before Ning Fan and Lei Shi could chase after them, 2 figures appeared outside the battlefield and stopped Dao Li and Qi Ji who were trying to escape. The 2 experts who appeared out of nowhere were both at the Void Inquiry stage. Moreover, they were existences who were nearly unrivaled among Void Inquiry stage experts. Lightning Lord Mo Lei and Lightning Lord Tai Yu. Why you two are here to protect His Majesty, right? Good. Good. Kill him quickly. The 2 of us will definitely ask for credit for you. Lord Dragon King will definitely reward you handsomely. When Dao Li and Qi Ji saw the 2 lightning lords, it was as if they had seen a life-saving straw in their despair. However, their words were only met with a snort of contempt from the two lightning lords. "Protect His Majesty. Yinglong and I are both lightning lords. Our statuses are the same. Why should we lower our statuses and protect him? Ridiculous." Mo Lei and Tai Yu captured Dao Li and Qi Ji with a flip of their palms. Dao Li and Qi Ji were severely injured and were at the end of their rope. It was extremely normal for them to be captured alive by two peak void inquiry stage experts. The two lightning lords knocked out one of them each. Then, they landed on the ground and tossed the two unconscious experts to Ning Fan's feet. "Fellow Taoist Zhou, we meet again. Count me in for the good deed of killing Yinglong. How about it?" Tai Yu laughed heartily, as if he had already forgotten about the matter of asking Ning Fan to fight him. Yinglongzi is already not far away from breaking through to the Void Pierce stage. His techniques are extremely powerful. Rumor has it that he once defeated a true Void Pierce stage old monster. This person must not be underestimated. I owe you a favor. Today, I'm here to lend you a hand. Mo Lei cupped his fists and said. "Thank you for your kindness." Ning Fan nodded his head. He had already expected that the two of them would return. When he was on the 23rd floor, he had already seen some clues. Looking at the two unconscious void inquiry stage old monsters under his feet, Ning Fan touched his glabella and took out the Separation Slayer sword. Without showing any mercy, he directly killed the two of them and devoured their primordial lightning. Killing two void inquiry stage experts was as easy as killing grass to him. His action made countless experts tremble in fear once again. They became even more respectful towards Ning Fan. As such, almost all the experts in Yinglong's Lightning Palace were killed except for King Yinglong. However, Ning Fan did not underestimate his enemies at all. Since King Yinglong was unrivaled among Void Inquiry stage experts and was able to defeat a Void Pierce stage expert, his combat power was certainly not to be underestimated. He looked at the mountains in the east and his eyes suddenly turned solemn. At the next moment, Mo Lei and Tai Yu also seemed to have made up their minds. Their breathing became slightly disordered. It was obvious that they were nervous. Lei Shi and the other experts of the Myriad Treasure Pavilion looked at the eastern mountain. Their heartbeats quickened. A million li away from the eastern mountain, a vast aura force that was like an awakened giant dragon was approaching at lightning speed. After the time it takes for an incense stick to burn, a middle-aged man in yellow robes appeared on the peak of the eastern mountain alone. He looked down at the common people as if they were ants. His gaze swept across the battlefield and his anger grew. He had never thought that there would be a day when someone would dare to come to the 24th floor and stir up trouble. He had never thought that there would be a Divine Transformation Realm Junior who would disobey him and kill all his subordinates. The moment the middle-aged man in yellow robes appeared, Tai Yu and Mo Lei's battle intent surged. They took a step forward and shouted coldly. "Yinglong! The era where you ruled the 24th floor is over. Today, you must die. With just you two. Ridiculous." The middle-aged man in yellow robes was so angry that he laughed. He waved his hand and tore the void of 100,000 li apart. Countless void storms swept across the place. The void power poured down like a tide and flowed like waves, forming an ocean under his feet. He stood on the void waves. At this moment, his magic power was endless. He circulated his spiritual energy and continued to recover. He looked at Mo Lei and Tai Yu with even more anger. He threw out both of his fists and the shadows of two dragons appeared behind him. His fists carried a destructive force that could collapse mountains and crack the earth. Void Technique, Double Dragon. Mo Lei and Tai Yu's expressions changed drastically. 1,000 years ago, they were just slightly weaker than King Yinglong. However, 1,000 years later, they felt suffocated when they faced King Yinglong's fist light. The two lightning lords struggled to throw out their fists. Each of them went against King Ying Long's fist light. Mo Lei was not good at body techniques. He was directly injured by King Ying Long's punch. As for Taiyu, even though he had the terrifying body technique of the second level of the Golden Body Realm, he was still sent flying by King Ying Long's punch. Blood flowed out from his mouth. Even though he was not severely injured, he still showed signs of being defeated. It silently showed the huge gap between him and King Ying Long. The two lightning lords stabilized their bodies and carefully looked at the void power that had gathered into an ocean. Then, they looked at King Ying Long, who was standing in the center of the ocean like a small boat. Suddenly, they understood something. Void Pierce Stage Qi Nurturing Technique. They finally understood why King Ying Long was so strong. It was because even though King Ying Long's cultivation realm had yet to reach the Void Pierce stage, he had already comprehended the Void Pierce Stage Qi Nurturing Technique. As long as a Void Pierce Stage old monster stood in the void, he could use the void power to condense his sea of qi, recover his magic power and temper his physical body. After condensing the sea of qi, not only did King Ying Long recover his magic power at an extremely fast speed, he could also use the void power to increase the strength of his physical body. His strength had already surpassed Mo Lei and Taiyu by a lot. Zhou Ming, you must die. King Ying Long turned around. His eyes were filled with monstrous baleful qi. It was the endless killing intent that he had accumulated throughout his life. Under this baleful qi, Lei Shi and the other experts of the Myriad Treasure Pavilion could not resist his aura force at all. All of them retreated rapidly. Even the two lightning lords had to take a few steps back before they could stabilize their bodies. Their minds were slightly disturbed by the baleful qi. Ning Fan was the only one who did not take even half a step back. He treated the baleful qi as if it was nothing. He was not afraid of King Ying Long's baleful qi because he had experienced too many seas of blood and seen too many peerless experts. He had seen Yun Tianjue's domineeringness. That was the ferocity and invincibility of a void fragmentation realm old monster. He had seen the deathly battle between Great Emperor Mo Luo and Immortal Emperor Tai Su. He had seen Meng Xuanzi suppress the sound of the bell of Samsara. He had destroyed one of Immortal Emperor Zhang Qing's eyes. He had even seen Immortal Sovereign Zido. Ning Fan, who had all kinds of experiences, would not be frightened by a mere King Ying Long. He would not. Ning Fan's eyes were filled with blood-red baleful qi. At this moment, he released a blood-red baleful qi that was a few times stronger than King Ying Long's. It covered the entire sky. Ying Long, you must die. Ning Fan was not afraid at all. He also replied coldly. This sentence carried an even stronger baleful qi. It actually made King Ying Long take half a step back. He lost control of his mind for a moment and his expression changed greatly. He, the dignified King Ying Long, was actually frightened by the baleful qi of a junior and took half a step back. This was a great humiliation that he found hard to believe. It made him want to kill Ning Fan instantly to vent the hatred in his heart. This young man's baleful qi is actually stronger than mine. How is this possible? King Ying Long gritted his teeth. He realized that he had underestimated Ning Fan from the very beginning. Moreover, deep in his subconsciousness, he already felt a little regretful. He regretted recklessly giving the order to hunt Ning Fan down that day, which led to today's disaster. However, he already had no other choice. All of his forces had been massacred by Ning Fan. Only by killing Ning Fan with all his might could he vent his anger. However, this time, before he could attack Ning Fan rushed into the void ocean first and took out a golden bell. At the moment the golden bell rang, the void ocean began to collapse. The void pierce stage qi sea that King Ying Long had painstakingly condensed was actually dissipating rapidly. What kind of bell is this? It can actually break the qi nurturing technique of a void pierce stage cultivator. A strong sense of astonishment rose in King Yinglong's heart. He stared at the Eastern Ocean bell in disbelief. Then, a look of greed appeared on his face. This bell is too similar to the item that King Donglong is searching for. I must obtain this item. Chapter 432. The Void Pure Stage's Qi nurturing technique borrowed the power of the void to evolve the Sea of Qi. As long as the Sea of Qi remained intact, one's magic power would be inexhaustible. The magic power contained in the Sea of Qi beneath King Yinglong's feet was at least the sum of the magic power of 10 Void Inquiry Stage experts. Stepping on his Qi Sea was very similar to Ning Fan stepping on the lightning diagram. With this technique, even if King Yinglong faces the army of the Myriad Treasure Pavilion alone, he would not exhaust all of his magic power and be defeated. No one below the Void Pierce stage could break his Sea of Qi. Even Tai Yu and Mo Lei, the two lightning lords, felt that they couldn't win against this technique. However, this technique was directly broken by Ning Fan using the Eastern Ocean bell. In an instant, greed rose in King Yinglong's eyes. He remembered that there was an old monster in a higher level who was trying his best to find this bell. After Ning Fan broke the Dragon King's Sea of Void Qi, Lei Shi and the other Void Refinement Realm cultivators of the Myriad Treasure Pavilion seized the opportunity and led 200 illusory undead puppets to attack King Yinglong. King Yinglong let out a bloodthirsty smile when he was faced with so many experts who were attacking him from all sides. His hands conjured the sun, moon, and stars in front of him. Suddenly, Xiao Chen's hands turned into dragon claws, tearing with force. The 5 claw marks looked like 5 ethereal beams of moonlight. Every beam of moonlight seemed light, but it had the power to suppress mountains and rivers. The moonlight was like a claw that could tear apart the void. A tearing force as vast as the moon immediately swept across the sky. Void technique, moon-tearing dragon. Lei Shi and the other 5 Void Refinement Realm experts had all their armors torn apart by the moonlight. Their bodies were badly mutilated and they fell to the ground with severe injuries. They had almost lost the ability to move. The combat power of 200 illusory undead puppets was equivalent to that of 20 Void Glimpse stage experts. However, nearly 50 undead puppets were torn into pieces by King Yinglong. As for the rest, their bodies were damaged and their combat power was greatly reduced. Is this the true strength of King Yinglong? Even an ordinary Void Inquiry stage expert like Lei Shi would not be able to withstand a single strike from him. Lei Shi, you're just an ant. Now, it's your turn. King Yinglong did not even look at those Divine Transformation Realm juniors of the Myriad Treasure Pavilion. His eyes only swept across Ning Fan, Tai Yu and Mo Lei. Apart from these 3 people, there was no one else here that could make him pay any attention to them. Ning Fan's eyes became even more solemn. King Yinglong's strength was far beyond his imagination. Is this the strength of an unrivaled Void Inquiry stage expert? Even though his expression was solemn, he wasn't afraid. However, Tai Yu and Mo Lei revealed expressions of fear. Impossible. 1,000 years ago, even though you were unrivaled among Void Inquiry stage experts, you weren't as strong as you are now. Defeating 6 Void Refinement Realm experts and 200 illusory Void Refinement Realm experts with a single move. You definitely couldn't have done this 1,000 years ago. Yes. I understand now. You are already a half-step Void Pierce stage expert and you can enter seclusion to break through to the Void Pierce stage anytime. That must be the case. This isn't good. This Yinglong can already be considered as a half-step Void Pierce stage expert. He is definitely not someone we can fight. Fellow Daoist Zhou, let's retreat quickly. We have plenty of time in the future, so don't throw away your life here. Tai Yu and Mo Lei were shocked by King Yinglong's current strength. Fortunately, the 2 of them were not cold-blooded and heartless people. They did not have the intention to escape alone. Instead, they wanted to bring Ning Fan along with them. Unfortunately, Ning Fan would not escape in the end. Above the void refinement realm, the difference between each level was like the difference between heaven and earth. Ning Fan understood that no matter how heaven-defying a half-step void refinement realm cultivator is, they would never be able to defeat a half-step void pierce stage cultivator. In the eyes of countless people, it was absolutely impossible for him to defeat King Yinglong. He understood all of this. However, he still had a trump card that could make all the impossibilities possible. Hand over the golden bell and I will let you die in one piece. You are just a half-step void refinement realm cultivator. No matter how heaven-defying your combat power is, you are still an ant in my eyes. How dare you compete with the sun and the moon with the light of a grain of rice? Your death isn't to be regretted. King Yinglong's face darkened. He stood in the sky and looked down at Ning Fan and the others like ants. Even though his void pierce stage chi nurturing technique was broken, he was confident that he could kill Ning Fan within 10 breaths. Ant? Light of a grain of rice? Are you sure? Demon eyes. Ning Fan's eyes flashed with a hint of mockery. That was his last human-like expression. At the next moment, his eyes lost all expression and only coldness was left. He still had a trump card which was to demonize his primordial spirit with the help of Mo Luo's blood and turn it into the body of a true devil. At this moment, a drop of Mo Luo's blood boiled inside Ning Fan's primordial spirit, turning it black bit by bit. Ning Fan's white robes were dyed black by the devil chi. His black hair danced wildly in the wind, making him look like a golden-armored devil god. He had 2 horns on his head, 6 wings on his back and a ghost eye on his glabella. The only thing that did not change was his gigantic devil avatar. An unusually ferocious devil chi spread out from his body, freezing the surrounding space. At this moment, Ning Fan felt like he had fallen into the abyss of 10,000 devils and became one of the 9 great devil ancestors who stood at the peak of the devil Tao. Demon eyes. Mo Lei and Tai Yu's expressions changed. The experts of the Myriad Treasure Pavilion who were severely injured on the ground were also shocked. Rumor has it that the ancient devil race had many secret techniques and abilities. All of them required the power of blood to be used. One of the abilities was demon eyes. By devouring blood, one could become a devil and transform into the body of a true devil. However, the demon eyes technique had long been lost along with the loss of the blood. No one could understand why Ning Fan was able to use this lost ancient devil ability. Could it be that Ning Fan possessed devil blood? But how was that possible? I didn't expect an ant like you to actually know the demon eyes technique. However, if you think that you can fight against me with this kind of mystifying technique, you are just daydreaming. Yinglong said disdainfully. Is that so? Ning Fan's eyes flashed with cold light. He glanced at Tai Yu and Mo Lei who were standing beside him. His indifferent words contained an irresistible devil might. Both of you, step back. What? Don't tell me you want to fight King Yinglong alone. You can't do that. The two of them wanted to dissuade Ning Fan but he had already taken a step forward. His figure faded and disappeared without a trace. His movement technique was too fast. It was even above the void inquiry stage. It was so fast that Mo Lei and Tai Yu could not see it clearly. His aura force was too strong. Even though he did not have the intention to target the two of them, it still made their sea of consciousness hurt. They were pierced by Ning Fan's gaze. What Mo Lei and Tai Yu did not know was that Ning Fan's physical body had already reached the true first level of the golden body refining realm. Under the extreme state of the corpse devil body refining realm, his physical body was comparable to a cultivator at the second level of the golden body refining realm. He was definitely not any weaker than Lightning Lord Tai Yu. The moment Ning Fan disappeared, the corner of Yinglong's eyes suddenly shrunk. Without hesitation, he turned around and threw a punch behind him. At that place, Ning Fan's figure appeared like a ghost. The speed of his traveling light and the movement technique he used were almost at the true void pierce stage. Void technique, twin dragons. Both of his fists carried the shadow of two roaring dragons. The power of his fists was enough to destroy heaven and earth. Ning Fan, who suddenly appeared, looked at the incoming fist light. His eyes, however, were filled with indifference and coldness. The twin dragon fist light was enough to defeat Tai Yu and Mo Lei with a single strike. However, in the eyes of the demonized Ning Fan, this fist technique was still not enough to hurt him. He did not dodge or evade the attack. He just let the fist light land on his lightning armor. However, it only created layers of ripple-like lightning. It could not break the lightning armor at all. Moreover, when the fist light was about to disappear, he opened his mouth and swallowed the remaining power of the fist light into his abdomen. Refine it. The remaining power of the fist light was devoured by Mo Luo's blood. To Ning Fan's shock, he discovered that by devouring the fist force with Mo Luo's blood, he could actually use his devil blood to imitate a body refinement technique that was similar to this technique. All of King Ying Long's disdain turned into astonishment in front of the third-level golden armor. What kind of armor is this? Its defense is actually so heaven-defying. You don't need to know. Void technique, twin dragons. Ning Fan swung both of his fists. Above his arms, two shadows of black dragons intertwined and roared. This technique was actually imitating King Ying Long's body refinement technique with his devil blood. Moreover, the body refinement technique imitated by Mo Luo's blood seemed to be able to be improved upon. Its destructive power was even vaguely above the original technique. What? King Ying Long became even more astonished. Anyone would be shocked to see their own body refinement technique being secretly learned by someone right in front of them. Ning Fan's void technique of twin dragons was still not proficient and he only had a superficial understanding of it. However, the grade of Ning Fan's void technique of twin dragons was obviously much higher than King Ying Long's. Many of the details were more perfect. Boom! The light of the twin dragons landed on King Ying Long's chest, shattering layers of his inner armor and causing him to fall from the sky. The astonishment in King Ying Long's eyes turned into fury. His physical body, which was at the second level of the Jade Life Realm, was actually injured by Ning Fan with a single strike that was separated by countless layers of inner armor. Even though his injuries were not severe, he was still injured by an ant. He could not tolerate being injured by an ant. What he could not understand was how Ning Fan was able to steal his signature secret technique the moment they exchanged blows. Using Mo Luo's blood to refine the fist light of others, borrowing the power of the devil blood to imitate body refinement techniques and evolve the universe. Is this the power of the blood of the ancient devil race? The divine race cultivates magic power while the demon race cultivates spirit sense while the devil race cultivates body refinement. By borrowing the power of the devil blood, the speed of comprehending body refinement techniques is at least 100 times faster than the other two races. Ning Fan's mind gradually calmed down. Today was the first time he completely demonized and discovered the profoundness of the blood. Perhaps the reason why the ancient devil race was suppressed and their blood was extracted was because this blood was too heaven-defying. The spirit of the demon race was the ability to borrow power from heaven and earth. The blood of the devil race was the innate talent of body refinement. The Fuli demon blood gave Ning Fan the ability of spirit, while the Mo Luo devil blood gave Ning Fan the ability of blood. With Ning Fan's current cultivation base, he was still unable to fully comprehend these two abilities. However, it was possible for him to imitate other people's body refinement techniques using his devil blood. King Ying Long was also no longer scary. The double dragon void technique is just a low-grade mortal void realm technique. It's not surprising that you can learn it secretly. However, I don't believe that you can even learn a mid-grade mortal void realm body refinement technique. King Ying Long calmed his mind and drew the great Tao with both of his hands, evolving the sun, moon and stars. It was the prelude to using the moon-tearing dragon technique just now. The moon-tearing dragon technique was also a body refinement technique. Its destructive power was extraordinary. With this attack, King Ying Long defeated 6 void refinement realm experts including Lei Shi and 200 illusory undead puppets. Ning Fan circulated the devil blood in his body to the maximum. Above his right eye, 3 devil stars began to shine at the same time. The first devil star was an elemental devil star, the managing earth devil star. The second devil star was the divine ability devil star. It once contained an earth element divine ability. However, the destructive power of that ability was too weak and Ning Fan had long abandoned it. The third devil star was the strengthening devil star. After condensing his natal star, it gradually condensed but it still did not obtain any strengthening attribute. As the devil blood was activated, Ning Fan suddenly felt as if his right eye was burning. To be more precise, it was the second devil star that was burning. The ability contained in the second devil star was being replaced by Mo Luo's blood. The ability contained in the second devil star was no longer an earth element magic technique. Instead, it was Mo Luo's eye. At this moment, Ning Fan's left eye was a demon while his right eye was a devil. His left eye was Fu Li while his right eye was Mo Luo. His left eye could break illusions and cast illusory techniques. As for his right eye, it was given an even more powerful ability by the power of blood. The burning pain in his right eye gradually disappeared. However, Ning Fan discovered to his surprise that after activating his devil eye this time, he could see some unimaginable things. For example, the flow of blood qi in King Ying Long's body was presented in front of Ning Fan's eyes without any reservation. Every trace of the flow was incomparably clear. The destructive power of a body refinement technique originated from the essence qi of a cultivator's flesh and blood. Mastering the flow of the blood qi was equivalent to mastering this body refinement technique. Imitating King Ying Long, Ning Fan changed his hand gestures and projected the illusions of the sun, moon and stars. The blood qi in his body began to circulate along King Ying Long's meridians. King Ying Long's eyes widened in anger. He realized that Ning Fan was really arrogant enough to imitate his moon-tearing dragon technique on the spot. A strong sense of humiliation rushed into his heart. He stopped drawing the great momentum. At this moment, the circulation of the essence qi of his flesh and blood had reached its peak. Moon-tearing dragon technique. Moon-tearing dragon technique. 2 voices resounded almost at the same time. At the moment when King Ying Long displayed the technique, Ning Fan actually imitated the technique as well. The technique that he imitated was naturally not as skillful as King Ying Long's. However, his devil eye had seen through the technique and his devil blood had improved it. The grade of Ning Fan's moon-tearing dragon technique was definitely higher than King Ying Long's. Displaying a body refinement technique in front of the devil race who possessed devil blood was just like displaying one slight skill in front of an expert. King Ying Long raised his 5 fingers and tore apart the moonlight on his 5 fingers. Ning Fan also raised his hand and tore down 5 rays of moonlight that could suppress mountains and rivers. Boom! The sky where the 2 of them stood was torn apart by a huge force. The void collapsed and the space trembled. The moonlight was like a huge dragon claw, each tearing at the void occupied by the other. The destructive power of this technique was not weak. After King Ying Long was torn by Ning Fan's moon claw, 5 bloody wounds appeared on his chest. The wounds were so deep that his bones could be seen. Blood kept flowing out of his wounds. His injuries were not light. With the help of the heaven-defying defense of his lightning armor, he directly blocked the Dragon King's moon claw without suffering any damage. Despicable. By secretly learning this king's body technique and relying on the lightning armor's protection, you can barely suppress this king. Do you dare to use your own strength to fight this king? King Ying Long roared indignantly. He was the one who was injured in both of their attacks. Ning Fan, on the other hand, remained unscathed. How could he accept this? Ning Fan ignored King Yinglong's anger. The devil blood imitated the enemy's body technique, and the thunder armor was condensed from his primordial spirit's thunder. How could they not be considered his own techniques? How despicable. He didn't like to talk nonsense. He didn't mind letting King Yinglong witness his true abilities. He took a step forward and disappeared once more. In the next instant, he appeared right in front of Winged Dragon and began a frenzied brawl. King Yinglong did not expect that Ning Fan would have the guts to fight him in close combat. He was an expert at the second level of the Golden Body realm, while Ning Fan seemed to be just at the peak Jade Life realm. However, as soon as they exchanged blows, he immediately realized that Ning Fan's physical body was not any weaker than his after his demonization. Each of his punches was powerful enough to collapse mountains and rivers. Each of his palm strikes was powerful enough to suppress heaven and earth. The two of them exchanged thousands of blows. Ning Fan was like a mad devil who only attacked without defending himself. With the protection of his lightning armor, why would he need to defend himself? All of King Yinglong's punches were blocked by the lightning armor. As for Ning Fan, each of his punches and palm strikes left indelible wounds on King Yinglong's physical body. Pieces of dragon scales fell from King Yinglong's body. They were all shattered by Ning Fan's punches. Drops of dragon blood splashed across the sky. They were all injured by Ning Fan's attacks. King Yinglong was unrivaled among Void Inquiry stage experts. With the protection of his lightning armor, Ning Fan could ignore all Void Inquiry stage attacks. The close combat between the two of them was earth-shattering. Mo Lei and Tai Yu were dumbfounded. They did not dare to intervene at all. Lei Shi and the others gradually regained their mobility. After suppressing their injuries, they raised their heads to look at the sky. The hollow space was shattered by Ning Fan and Yinglong time after time. That intense battle was not something ordinary people could intervene in. As time went by, Ning Fan's strength did not show any signs of weakening. However, King Yinglong's injuries became more and more serious. He could no longer fight against Ning Fan head-on. Each of the experts who were watching the battle wore a shocked expression. King Yinglong, who was unrivaled on the 24 floors, was showing more and more signs of being defeated. Ning Fan, who had undergone demonization, was actually so strong that he could defeat King Yinglong. Who was King Yinglong? He was an unrivaled being among the Void Inquiry stage experts. He had even defeated an ordinary Void Pierce stage expert before. Ning Fan was actually going to defeat an expert of this level. This was undoubtedly shocking. Boom! After another collision, King Yinglong was sent flying away. He used all of his strength to attack Ning Fan's lightning armor, but he could not even leave a single crack on it. The toughness of this lightning armor was far beyond his imagination. King Yinglong deeply understood that if he does not use his strongest trump card, he would certainly not be able to defeat Ning Fan. Moreover, it was highly likely that he would die here today. I have no other choice. Even if I have to use the treasure that King Dong Long gave me, I must kill you. Void Treasure, Yellow Dragon Jade Token. While King Yinglong was retreating, he suddenly took out 7 dark yellow dragon-shaped jade tokens. When the 7 jade tokens soared into the sky, he transformed into a 6,000 zhang large yellow dragon with wings that could devour mountains and rivers. The yellow dragon jade token was just a mid-grade mortal void magic treasure. However, when the 7 jade tokens fused into one, its destructive power seemed to be even stronger than some high-grade mortal void magic treasures. It was enough to launch a Void Pierce stage attack. The magic power required to activate this treasure was too vast. King Yinglong even needed to transform into his true form in order to activate this token. Ning Fan's eyes turned solemn. The destructive power of this jade token was almost enough to shatter his lightning armor. The yellow dragon uttered a series of complicated and profound incantations. The vast heaven is dead. The yellow heaven shall rise. Suppress the yellow heaven. As soon as the incantation was uttered, the jade tokens turned into rays of golden light and vanished. At the next moment, the vast sky within 100,000 li turned golden. Layers of the sky spread out. There were a total of 7 layers of the yellow heaven. Suppress. The 7 layers of the yellow heaven pressed down from above. This was the true might that could overturn the heavens. Any void inquiry stage old monsters or even some void pure stage old monsters would lose their lives under the suppression of these 7 layers of the yellow heaven. This was already King Yinglong's strongest attack. This attack was enough to change the color of the wind and clouds. I also have my strongest attack. Let me show you what kind of destructive power it is when Mo Luo and Tai Su merge into one. Heaven-breaking sword finger. First collapse, second collapse and third collapse. Ning Fan raised his finger and pointed it at the sky. The bone of his index finger suddenly gave off a terrifying lightning light. This was the Emperor Bone Finger. Chapter 433. The heaven-collapsing sword finger could first collapse the mountains and rivers of the vast island, the second collapsed the black sun of the sky, and the third collapsed the bones of the void. The might of the third finger was practically no weaker than the star-punishing bow. Furthermore, with 3 consecutive points and 3 collapses as one, its might was even above that of the star-punishing bow. Originally, he had yet to successfully cultivate the third finger. However, Tai Su had bestowed him with immortal Emperor Realm magic power in the dream he had in his mind that day. After attaining the unity of heaven and man, Ning Fan was almost an immortal emperor through and through. With the help of the Tao comprehension of the unity of heaven and man and his magic power that was as vast as the ocean, he had nearly comprehended all the essences of the first 5 fingers of the heaven-breaking sword finger. With his current realm, he was still unable to execute the 4th and 5th finger, but after demonizing, he could barely execute the 3rd finger. Ning Fan raised his head and looked at the 7 layers of yellow skies that were falling from the sky. Then, he took a deep breath. He saw the aura of the 7 layers of yellow skies that could suppress everything. He saw King Yinglong's disdainful conceit. If it was any other void inquiry stage old monster, they would certainly die after being suppressed by the 7 layers of yellow skies. It was no wonder that King Yinglong would be so conceited. King Yinglong's yellow dragon jade token was extremely powerful. Even Tai Yu, Mo Lei and the other lightning lords could not withstand it. However, Ning Fan must withstand this attack. When he pointed his first finger, the mountains and rivers below him crumbled one after another. All of the crumbling force gathered at the tip of his finger, turning into a ray of dazzling sword light. It was dark yellow in color, symbolizing the great earth, mountains, and rivers. Without waiting for the sword light to shoot out, Ning Fan pointed his finger a second time. The 7 layers of yellow skies trembled at this moment. It seemed like it was going to collapse because of the second finger. However, it stopped immediately. The void shattered bit by bit, and the black shadow of the sun that quietly appeared also shattered. The collapsing power of the black sun in the sky turned into a second resplendent sword light. At this moment, the 2 sword lights turned gray and pointed at the sky. Ning Fan's eyes looked unprecedentedly solemn. This was the first time he used this finger technique with his own cultivation base. With a point of his finger, the void within a radius of 100,000 li shattered. The void that was as black as ink had buried too many experts and buried too many corpses. The target of this finger was the countless dead souls that were buried in the void. With a single point of his finger, the void collapsed, and the skeletons hidden in the void collapsed as well. Ghostly howls from the desolate antiquity came from the bones, bringing with them the exhaustion of liberation. Ning Fan was stunned all of a sudden. This 3rd finger seemed to be used to shatter the remains of the deceased to obtain the power of the finger. However, it actually had another purpose. Those who were buried in the void were trapped by the void, unable to enter the cycle of reincarnation after death. But this finger had shattered their bones and broken the cage of the void, sending them back into the cycle of reincarnation. The true meaning of the third finger was not to kill, but to save. Perhaps the sword ancestor created this finger because he felt guilty for killing too many people in his life and wanted to send those experts who died in the void to reincarnation. Sword ancestor. Ning Fan closed his eyes. Suddenly, he felt a trace of respect for the sword ancestor whom he had never met before. Killing was necessary on the path to attaining the Tao, but killing was not necessarily a life and death enmity. If it's not a death feud, I'll kill you for the rest of your life to relieve you of your predicament and send you into the reincarnation cycle. This can also be considered as the sword ancestor's magnanimity. Ning Fan's expression gradually calmed down. A trace of profound and vicissitudes of power rose in his eyes. That power was the cycle of reincarnation. Even though it was just a trace of it, it was more in line with the true meaning of the third finger. His mind suddenly became incomparably broad, as if it could accommodate the entire cycle of reincarnation. The third ray of dazzling sword light condensed at the tip of his finger and dyed all three rays of sword light black. That black color was a metaphor for the deceased bones in the void. Four silhouettes appeared in his mind one after another. Mo Luo's bloodthirst, Tai Su's righteousness, the sword ancestor's calmness and immortal sovereign Zido's smile that could wipe out the cycle of reincarnation. Ning Fan had refined the immortal emperor's finger bone, which would certainly make the destructive power of this finger much stronger. His eyes glowed with an unimaginable light, making him as lofty as an immortal emperor. When his gaze swept across King Ying Long's dragon body through the 7 layers of yellow heavens, it actually gave him a soul-stirring feeling. When he pointed out his finger, the 3 rays of sword light pierced through the vault of heaven with destructive power, causing gales to blow in all directions. At this moment, Ning Fan was standing under the collapsing 7 layers of yellow heavens. He was majestic and unmoving, like an immortal emperor who had lived since ancient times until today. What kind of finger technique is this? It actually gave me such a terrifying feeling. What? This is absolutely impossible. All of his words were stuck in his mouth. King Ying Long's dragon eyes were filled with disbelief. His eyes were filled with ferocious traces of blood. Just as he was exclaiming in shock, the 7 layers of yellow heavens that were suppressing Ning Fan began to crumble one after another along with the 3 rays of sword light. Chi! 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 The 3 rays of destructive sword light pierced through the 7 layers of yellow heavens one after another. The first ray of sword light broke through 3 layers of yellow heavens. The second ray of sword light annihilated the 6th layer of yellow heavens. After destroying the 7th layer of yellow heavens, the 3rd ray of sword light still had 2/3 of its destructive power left. It turned into millions of pitch-black sword threads which instantly surrounded King Ying Long's dragon body. King Ying Long's gigantic yellow dragon body was as tiny as a moth in front of the millions of sword threads. His eyes were filled with fear. The millions of sword threads spread out like a massive spider web and King Ying Long was like a dying moth that was trapped in the spider web. He could not believe that his strongest trump card, the yellow dragon's 7 tokens, was actually broken by Ning Fan with just 3 fingers. Chi! 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 Traces of pitch-black sword threads broke through King Ying Long's dragon scale armor. Even though his physical body was at the 2nd level of the golden body realm, the sword threads actually left millions of wounds on him. His dragon blood splashed across the heavens and formed a river of blood. Ah! King Ying Long let out a miserable shriek. His dragon scales fell like snowflakes. Finally, under the attack of the heaven-breaking sword finger, he was severely injured. Countless experts including Mo Lei and Tai Yu sucked in a cold breath at this moment. When they saw King Ying Long display the yellow dragon's 7 tokens and summon the 7 layers of yellow heavens, all of them felt that they were unable to resist him. However, the suppression of the 7 layers of yellow heavens was broken by Ning Fan with just 3 fingers and 3 sword strikes. At this moment, Ning Fan was as arrogant as an immortal emperor, giving people the illusion that they wanted to fall to the ground and worship him. The destructive power of fellow Daoist Zhou Ming's finger attack has already reached the Void Pierce stage. Even if he is a true Void Pierce stage old monster, not everyone can withstand this attack. Since fellow Daoist Zhou Ming can display this finger attack, could it be that his cultivation base has already reached the Void Pierce stage? King Yinglong has been defeated. Fellow Daoist Zhou has defeated Yinglong. You should seize this opportunity to kill this evil being. Then, the 24 floors of the Lightning Tower will return to the situation where all the dragons are contending for supremacy. We will no longer submit to the Dragon King's prestige. Shouts resounded from all directions. There were countless experts hiding in this place. Some of them were neutral forces on the 24 floors while some were experts from the lower worlds on the 24 floors and above. All of them were looking at Ning Fan with deep fear. No matter where they go, experts would always be looked up to by others. Since Ning Fan was able to defeat King Yinglong, he was undoubtedly a strong expert. Ignoring the countless respectful gazes, Ning Fan activated his devil body and turned into a 5,000 zhang tall black giant. His body was covered in golden armor and he finally displayed the last devil form of Mo Luo, the giant devil body. He opened his mouth and swallowed the 7 jade tokens that were falling from the sky into his abdomen, seizing the yellow dragon's 7 tokens. The golden armored giant took a huge step forward and approached Yinglong. He grabbed the dragon's giant tail and smashed it on the ground like a whip. King Yinglong was severely injured by the sword finger attack. His chi was still stagnant and he could not resist the giant's attacks at all. He was like a huge helpless snake that was constantly being smashed on the ground. Each of his attacks would shatter countless mountains and rivers, producing a deafening sound that shook heaven and earth. All of a sudden, Yinglong, who had yet to recover his chi, became even more chaotic. His sea of consciousness was on the verge of shattering. After being smashed by the giant, his injuries became more and more severe. His consciousness became more and more blurry. He could not resist at all and could only let out angry and unwilling dragon roars. Zhou Ming! You're courting death. How dare you injure me like this? I must kill you. I must kill you. Noisy. The golden armored giant let out a disdainful roar. He had already crippled King Yinglong. How could he let Yinglong go? He must kill him today. The giant used an almost cruel method to extract Yinglong's dragon tendons, peel off all his dragon scales, break his dragon horns and break his dragon wings. Yinglong was in so much pain that he wished he was dead. His flesh was torn and his blood flowed like a river. At this moment, he finally let go of his arrogant attitude. He was afraid. Zhou Ming! You can't kill me. I am the subordinate of the Lightning Lord of the 90th floor of the Lightning Tower, King Dong Long. If you kill me, King Dong Long will never let you go. Let me go now. As if responding to Yinglong's cry for help, an aura force that was infinitely close to the void fragmentation realm suddenly descended on the 24th floor. Yinglong is right. If you dare to touch my people, you must die today. As soon as this voice fell, an old man in golden robes suddenly descended. His eyes were as cold as frost. As soon as this person appeared, countless experts on the 24th floor exclaimed in surprise. King Dong Long! This man is the Lightning Lord of the 90th floor of the Lightning Tower. He has come to avenge King Yinglong. Rumor has it that King Dong Long has already reached the peak of the absolute void stage a long time ago. He is already a half-step void fragmentation realm expert. If it wasn't because the Black Lightning Tower restricts the cultivation base of undead spirits and prevents anyone from breaking through to the void fragmentation realm, that King Dong Long would have already become a void fragmentation realm old monster. I didn't expect him to come back. No matter how heaven-defying Zhou Ming is, he is definitely not King Dong Long's opponent. The moment King Dong Long appeared, Tai Yu, Mo Lei and the others were filled with despair. King Ying Long was unrivaled among Void Inquiry stage experts. Everyone was already afraid of him. A Void Pierce stage old monster could easily crush everyone. If he is an absolute Void stage old monster, killing everyone on the 24th floor would definitely be as easy as blowing off dust. That King Dong Long was not only an absolute Void stage old monster but he had also cultivated to the peak of the absolute Void stage. Unless he is a true Void Fragmentation Realm expert, who else could suppress him? Fellow Daoist Zhou. Let's leave now. We definitely can't fight this King Dong Long. Lei Shi and the others exclaimed. No need. He won't dare to go against me. Killing intent flashed in the eyes of the golden-armored giant. He used both of his hands to tearing Long's waist into two pieces. At first, King Ying Long thought that Ning Fan would certainly not dare to hurt him after King Dong Long showed up. However, he did not expect that Ning Fan would be so audacious as to kill someone in front of him. He let out a miserable shriek and was killed by Ning Fan. How dare you? King Dong Long was enraged. He did not expect that a mere Divine Transformation Realm Junior would dare to kill someone in front of him. Moreover, he did not expect Ning Fan to speak arrogantly in front of him, saying that he, King Dong Long, would not dare to go against a junior. Humiliation. It was a blatant humiliation. King Dong Long was so angry that he laughed. He took a step forward and waved his hand. His heavenly dragon chi was like a blade or a halberd, trying to suppress Ning Fan's head. At this moment, a wave of Void Fragmentation Realm aura force suddenly spread out from Ning Fan's body, causing King Dong Long's face to turn ashen. A Void Fragmentation Realm attack. You actually have a Void Fragmentation Realm attack. Who are you? Get lost. If I see you again, you will certainly die. The golden-armored giant threatened coldly. King Dong Long hurriedly dispersed his dragon chi. For the first time in his life, he panicked and felt puzzled. Why? Why could Ning Fan, a mere Divine Transformation Realm Junior, use a Void Fragmentation Realm attack? King Dong Long was conceited. However, his conceit was not worth mentioning in front of a Void Fragmentation Realm cultivator. He had cultivated to the peak of the Absolute Void stage and was only a step away from the Void Fragmentation Realm. However, he would never be able to take this step in his life. The difference between him and the Void Fragmentation Realm would forever be like the difference between heaven and earth. From Ning Fan's steel of sun and moon, he sensed a hint of the threat of certain death. This young man has a Void Fragmentation Realm trump card. It's definitely unwise for me to go against him. This young man obviously has such a powerful trump card but he only chased me away instead of suppressing me. Most likely, he will have to pay a huge price for using this Void Fragmentation Realm attack. Or perhaps, he only has the power for one attack and he doesn't want to waste it on me. No matter what, this young man has such a terrifying trump card. I must not offend him for a mere Ying Long. I heard that someone saw that this young man has a strange golden bell which can break the void power. It is for this bell that I deign to descend to the lower worlds. I really want this bell. However, if I force this young man to use a Void Fragmentation Realm attack because of this bell, the gains won't make up for the losses. Forget it. It's better not to provoke this young man. King Dong Long's mind raced. In the end, he gritted his teeth with mixed feelings. Reluctantly, he cupped his fists at Ning Fan and left dejectedly. He did not dare to go against Ning Fan. The scene left countless experts dumbfounded. King Dong Long came to Ning Fan in a threatening manner. However, he was humiliated and killed by Ning Fan in front of everyone. Why did he leave unwillingly? Of course, they did not know that Ning Fan had secretly released a trace of the suppressive chi of the steel of sun and moon to scare King Dong Long away. Looking at King Dong Long who was fleeing far away, the golden-armored giant's eyes turned slightly cold. However, he shook his head. If he uses the attack of the Steel of Sun and Moon, he was confident that he could suppress King Dong Long. However, he was also confident that he would return empty-handed. It was not easy for him to complete the soul of the Steel of Sun and Moon. If he uses this Void Fragmentation Realm attack on King Dong Long and return empty-handed, it would be too wasteful. Without the confidence to kill King Dong Long, Ning Fan only scared him away. If he attacks, he must kill him in a single strike. Otherwise, he would only provoke a powerful enemy. This time, Ning Fan had already reached his limit by killing his way up to the 24th floor in a fit of rage. If he wants to go to a higher floor, he would have to face Void Pure Stage and Absolute Void Stage enemies. Ning Fan knew that even if he demonized, he would definitely not be able to fight against those old monsters. After devouring King Ying Long's flesh and primordial lightning, he kept the lightning jade and picked up a dark lightning bamboo leaf. His eyes were filled with thoughts. He already had 24 dark lightning bamboo leaves. It was more than enough to give Hong Yi the task. It's time to go. I can't delay Yu Er's injuries any longer. There's also little Yu Er. After dispersing his demonized body, Ning Fan suddenly felt weak. He immediately consumed some pills to recover his stamina and magic power. With the protection of his third-level golden grade lightning armor, he was not injured. However, the consumption of his magic power and stamina was quite significant. The demonization of his primordial spirit was too much of a burden on his body. The third-level golden grade lightning armor still needed to devour at least 90,000 traces of primordial lightning before it could break through to the fourth level. Ning Fan did not have the time to kill his way up to a higher floor. The only thing he could do was to temporarily give up on upgrading his lightning armor. Ning Fan's cold eyes swept across the area and issued a warning to the experts who were watching the battle. Then, he walked towards Lei Shi and the others. Congratulations, fellow Taoist Zhou. You killed Ying Long with your own hands. After today's battle, I'm afraid fellow Taoist's name will shock the entire 100 floors of the Lightning Tower. That's right. I didn't expect fellow Taoist to not only kill Ying Long but also scare King Dong Long away. It seems like fellow Taoist has an extremely powerful trump card. Some of the voices were congratulating him, some were inquiring and some were filled with inexplicable meanings. The only thing they had in common was that all of their eyes were filled with respect and they looked at Ning Fan, including Mo Lei and Tai Yu. Lei Shi was the only one who still wore a wretched expression. He rubbed his palms and chuckled at Ning Fan. Fellow Taoist Zhou, are you leaving? That's right. About that. Fellow Taoist, a person of high status often forgets things. Think carefully. Before you leave, is there anything that you should do but haven't done? Lei Shi blinked his eyes as if he was reminding Ning Fan that Ning Fan had promised him that he would give him all the lightning jades. It seems like there's nothing that I've forgotten. Ning Fan pretended to be at a loss. As soon as he said those words, Lei Shi's eyes went blank. He felt as if he had just swallowed a fly. It's over. It's over. It's all over. Could it be that Ning Fan has completely forgotten about our previous agreement? Just as he was scratching his ears and cheeks, thinking about how to tactfully remind Ning Fan about the lightning jades, Ning Fan had already handed him a storage pouch filled with lightning jades and left with a smile. Don't worry. I don't have the habit of breaking my promise. Ning Fan walked towards Mo Lei and Tai Yu and cupped his fists towards them. Thank you for your help. If fate allows it, I will certainly repay your kindness. Cough. The two of us didn't help fellow Taoist much. It was fellow Taoist who killed Ying Long with your powerful means. Tai Yu and Mo Lei smiled bitterly. They did not have the arrogance of a lightning lord. Other than helping to capture the two Void Inquiry stage experts, they did not do anything else. I have something important to deal with. I have no choice but to leave. The mountains are high and the rivers are long. Let's meet again if fate allows it. Farewell. Ning Fan's gaze swept across the experts around him and cupped his fists. Then, he summoned his heaven-deceiving cloak and disappeared. As for the peculiar smell of the fire scale ash, it was directly erased by Ning Fan using his golden-purple mist. Previously, he just did not want to erase it. Under the cycle of samsara, what can't be erased? He has left. He doesn't have any intention of dominating the 24th floor at all. From the looks of it, he is indeed a living being just like what I expected. Is he the same as that Thunder Sovereign Bu Zhou who came to the Black Lightning Tower to gain experience? Mo Lei sighed. Perhaps he will come back. At that time, he might be even stronger. At that time, I will be more than happy to have another battle with him. However, I'm afraid I won't be a match for him anymore. Tai Yu's eyes were filled with battle intent. He was looking forward to Ning Fan's next visit. Lei Shi received the storage pouch. He did not check how many lightning jades were inside it. He just looked at the direction where Ning Fan had left. All of a sudden, he withdrew all of his wretched expression and sent a telepathic message to Ning Fan with a solemn expression. The mountains are high and the rivers are long. See you again. Using the heaven-deceiving cloak's concealment, Ning Fan avoided a lot of troubles and left each floor. Since there were no battles, he naturally left quickly. In just a day's time, he had already left the Lightning Tower. The trip to the Lightning Tower was like a dream. He accidentally obtained the Immortal Emperor's finger bone, accidentally got rid of the hidden danger of his devil marks and even condensed his lightning armor. Although his cultivation base did not improve, his combat power had increased by a lot. However, when he looked inside his body and saw the black devil chi on his primordial spirit that could not be erased, Ning Fan's expression turned slightly unpleasant. Under the situation where he had yet to completely assimilate Mo Luo's blood, the side effects of abruptly turning into a devil form were really not small. Currently, more than half of Ning Fan's primordial spirit had turned black. It had suffered some damage. If he completely turns black, it would probably be troublesome. Fortunately, the nature of his primordial spirit was firm. It was not affected by the devil chi. Ning Fan formed a series of hand seals and forced out traces of devil chi from his primordial spirit. Perhaps in less than a month, he would be able to force out all of the devil chi and turn into a devil form again. After returning to the internal endless sea this time, if it's not necessary, it's better not to turn into a devil form again. Although Mo Luo's demonic body is powerful, its side effects are too great. Unless you completely refine Mo Luo's blood, there will be some damage to your soul after demonizing. I'm afraid it will be very difficult to completely refine Mo Luo's blood. After all, this drop of blood is the blood of Great Emperor Mo Luo. It possesses the power of blood. It can't be refined directly like the other heavenly ingredients and earthly treasures. If I want to devour this drop of blood, not only will I have to go to the Giant Devil clan, but I will also have to go to the Six-Winged clan, the Misthorn clan and the Ghost Eye clan. Perhaps there will be a way to devour this drop of blood. Ning Fan collected his thoughts and used the teleportation formation to leave the cloud realm in the upper layer, returning to the lower layer of the Black Lightning realm. As soon as he appeared, a beautiful figure dressed in red with a cold face immediately entered his sight. Her cold eyes clearly showed the dissatisfaction of waiting for a long time. I've waited for you for 10 days. You're finally back. Where's the thing? Can I get 7 bamboo leaves? Fortunately, I didn't disappoint you. I managed to obtain a little more than 7. Ning Fan secretly studied Hong Yi and his brows slightly sank. Even with his current combat power, he still felt that his chi was sluggish when facing Hong Yi. Even though this lady's cultivation base was at the void glimpse stage, the sense of danger she gave Ning Fan was far greater than King Yinglong's. In fact, she was even stronger than King Donglong's. You still dare to probe me? Hong Yi's plain face became even colder. She had once reminded Ning Fan not to probe her again. However, she did not expect Ning Fan to have such a bad memory and probe her again. However, when she heard that Ning Fan obtained a little more than 7 dark lightning bamboo leaves, Hong Yi suppressed the coldness in her eyes. Her mood became slightly better and she no longer held Ning Fan responsible for offending her. Judging from the baleful qi on your body, it seems to have become much denser. Could it be that you killed your way up to the lightning tower? How many floors of the lightning tower did you go up and how many lightning leaves did you obtain? Hong Yi was slightly surprised. In fact, she already had an answer even though she asked that question. The process is not worth mentioning but the result is quite satisfying. Why don't you guess how many dark lightning bamboo leaves I obtained? Ning Fan changed the topic and did not show off too much about the number of killings he had. Killing people was never a joyful thing. However, the path of seeking immortality and the Tao was too tortuous. Many times, he had no choice but to kill. Even though he was decisive in killing and did not hesitate to kill people, he was not that perverted to the point where he would boast about the number of his kills. You want me to guess? Hong Yi gave Ning Fan a strange look. Other people had always answered her questions obediently. Ning Fan was the first person who asked her a question in return and made her guess the answer. Are you afraid that you won't get it right? Afraid? The corner of Hong Yi's mouth curved into a provocative smile. She had never been afraid of anything before. She rarely smiled. Even though her smile at this moment was a little provocative, it also carried a unique charm because of her natural beauty. Not only was it not scary, but it was also a little charming. Ning Fan's eyes were slightly stunned. He did not expect that someone as cold as Hong Yi would look so beautiful when she smiled. With your strength, if nothing unexpected happens, it won't be difficult for you to kill your way up to the 7th floor. You might even be able to dominate the 10th floor. I guess you obtained 10 bamboo leaves after killing your way up to the 10th floor. Hong Yi said with certainty. A little more than 10. You've killed your way up to the 11th floor. Hong Yi's cold and bright eyes revealed surprise for the first time. The guardian of the bamboo leaves on the 11th floor was a void inquiry stage expert. Hong Yi did not think that Ning Fan's weak body could fight against a void inquiry stage old monster. How many floors have you actually killed your way up to? Even though Hong Yi was not interested in anything in the world, she had to admit that she was now curious about Ning Fan. She took a few steps forward and approached Ning Fan. Her cold eyes carried a hint of aggressiveness. She did not want to continue guessing. She did not have that much patience. As she approached Ning Fan, she raised her cold but pure face and stared at him coldly without any emotion. At such a close distance, Ning Fan could even smell the unique fragrance on Hong Yi's body. How about we make a deal? I've obtained quite a lot of dark lightning bamboo leaves. I can give you 14 of them and the rest will all belong to me. However, you have to give me 100,000 years old spiritual herbs that I need to harmonize the bamboo leaves. You also need dark lightning bamboo leaves. The golden lightning bamboo leaves can save a void refinement realm expert. As for the dark lightning bamboo leaves, I don't think you have any use for them for now, right? Hong Yi pondered and said. Aren't you just a void refinement realm expert? Why do you need the dark lightning bamboo leaves that only void fragmentation realm experts use? Ning Fan asked in return. He also had some speculations about Hong Yi. Forget it. It's fine if you don't want to tell me. Did you go up to the 14th floor? Hong Yi was slightly surprised. She did not think that Ning Fan had the ability to kill his way up to the 14th floor. I was just lucky. What do you think about this deal? Ning Fan's smile became deeper, making Hong Yi unable to understand his intentions. I don't need 14 bamboo leaves. 12 are enough. I can give the rest to you. Now, can you tell me how many bamboo leaves you have actually obtained? 24. You're just a half-step void refinement realm cultivator, but you actually managed to kill your way up to the 24th floor. Hong Yi's blood-red eyes flashed with a hint of surprise. Then, she perfectly concealed her expression and remained silent for a while. She realized that she seemed to have underestimated Ning Fan. With such strength, he might really be able to help her accomplish that important matter. Your strength really surprises me. Let's go. I'll bring you to meet a few people. Hong Yi quietly stepped back, distancing herself from Ning Fan, and said casually. No one knew what she was thinking. Meet who? Ning Fan's heart became vigilant. Even though he had an agreement with Hong Yi, it was not to the extent where he trusted her completely. The people of the Zhou clan are on the Thunder Bamboo Island. The 100,000 years old spiritual herb is also in their hands. You can choose not to go. Hong Yi left gracefully. Ning Fan's eyes flashed and he immediately followed her. If it's just to save you Lingkong, obtaining the golden lightning bamboo leaf would be enough. However, in order to save Luoyu, he must obtain the 100,000 years old spiritual herb and the dark golden bamboo leaf. He had yet to hand over the dark golden bamboo leaf to Hong Yi. With this information in his hands, he was not afraid that the people of the Zhou clan would do anything to him. He was also not afraid that Hong Yi would break the agreement. Ning Fan could also see that to Hong Yi, a precious 100,000 years old spiritual herb was not worth mentioning at all. The daughter of the Thunder Sovereign. Her identity is so respected and her vision is so high. Even a void fragmentation realm old monster would pay attention to a 100,000 years old spiritual herb. Yet, she is so dismissive towards it. With the heaven-deceiving cloak and the steel of sun and moon, I can easily go to the internal sea. Even if this woman leads me to meet the cultivators of the Zhou clan with ill intentions, I won't be afraid. Besides, judging from this woman's motive, it seems like she still wants to rope me in. Even though she valued my wind mist finger technique, she did not value me this much. It seems like my sudden increase in combat power has changed her attitude towards me. In this world, if you want others to value you, you still need to change yourself. I still need to break through to the void refinement realm. However, breaking through to the golden body refinement realm is far easier than breaking through to the void refinement realm. With the power of my blood, my body refinement aptitude is 100 times better than ordinary cultivators. As long as I advance my devil marks to the martial rank, I will certainly be able to break through to the golden body refinement realm in one go. By then, even if my cultivation base has yet to attain the void refinement realm, no void refinement realm old monster would dare to look down on me. Ning Fan clenched his fists tightly. His eyes were filled with confidence. He was not far away from the golden body refinement realm. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.